We are a nation of beautiful people, where we and us come from around the world, each a vital part of the colorful fabric we call home. It is a country that has a new common language, with different dialects translated by the strategy of the game. We are witness to beautiful goals, where unbelievable cannot begin to describe what we just saw, and where the unimaginable becomes attainable. It is where pride comes to life on the pitch, respect has been earned, and credibility has been conceived by commitment to the game. This is where passion for one game is paramount. This is where the love for one game is undeniable. This is where one game, and one game only, is found on One Soccer.
Smashed it into the top of the net. And Noah Jensen with a missile. Sanchez lines up the shot. Preston Borges up. Dyer was looking for it, referee ignored it. Now Zanata. Oh, maybe. They've got to be. Oh, my goodness me. They've turned it on their head. Hugs amongst the visiting bench.
6 goal contributions this season. They open the scoring here. And he puts it on a plate for Aparicio. A resounding and convincing victory for Atletico Ottawa.
This should be a dramatic substitution as the ball is played in. And they got it in. They have. Cavalry FC are back into the top 2.
And back it's Hundo against his former team. Gives it up. Dono heads it to Diaz. An equalizer. No more seconds to be added on.
Buckle up, CPL fans. It's time to do some scoreboard watching. It's the final day of the regular season, and there's plenty to play for. What will the playoff matches be? Who will get the final playoff spot? All teams kicking off at the same time. It's the outcome, and it's on One Soccer. Hello, everyone, and welcome inside our One Soccer studio. The outcome presented by tonybet. Andy Petrillo, Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson with you. This is it. It is the final day of the regular season, and I want to remind you what there is to play for. So all games kicking off at 4 p.m. Halifax, by the way, the only team eliminated from playoff contention. They visit a Yorkside who will finish 4th. But who are they going to face, guys? 5th spot will be fought over today by Pacific, who take on Forge, Vancouver, who play Ottawa, and Valor, who face Cavalry. By the way, Ottawa, Cavalry fighting to finish 2nd. Whoever gets that 2nd place spot, they will face 1st place Forge. So it all began back in April. Here we are now in October, Wheels, and there is still a lot going on.
A bit of a marathon, but it went by like that.
It did.
Time flies when you're having fun. It's been another banner year in the Canadian Premier League, and I think the one thing that stands out more so than anything else is the parity across this league. The fact that only one team has been eliminated from playoff contention, that being Halifax, a team that was a playoff team a season ago, and still plenty of questions to be asked when it comes to the 2-3 as well. Forge, deserved champions of the regular season. They're going to be the favorites once again to lift the North Star Cup, but I think there's been balance across the board. Anyone can beat anyone any given match day.
Absolutely. I think the Canadian Premier League, they deserve a lot of credit for the adjustments that they made. All these games played at the same time. I don't care who you are. And it's how it should be. This is in the top leagues. This is what happens on the last day. So much is on the line. Players are going to be coming in at halftime, checking their phone, seeing what's going on.
Will they?
They have to.
Yeah.
I've done this to get promoted. You have to go and check and see what's going on, but you still have to do your part, Andy, which is on the pitch everything going on, and you can't worry about the other games. You have to make sure that you take care of business on the pitch.
I know a lot of players, a lot of coaches, they're like, we don't know what's going on with those other games.
You check.
No way, of course you do. And someone who's at one of those games, Christian Jack out in Pacific. Rain is coming down behind you. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But KJ, I want to get your thoughts here on the outcome, the final day, because this has to be a dream for the league, knowing that these games matter on the final day.
Yeah, Andy, it's a great point. You talk about the games matter. I mean, the 3 of the games matter today. What does that mean? Well, of 112 regular season games in the Canadian Premier League in 2024, ultimately it'll go down the books as 111 games of meaning, and that's over 99%. And when you see a league grow and you see the development of these players, and the league continues to work on the progress of the young players being developed, it's absolutely crucial. You know, these players that I talk to, these coaches, everybody involved in these clubs, they know that when games matter, and particularly today, you know, these players are even more switched on. So look, I've been out here for about 36 very wet hours, but the feeling amongst everybody, Forge, and in particular this team Pacific, who are the story today, knowing that they can get that 5th spot, is that this is really what it's about. They feel like they're professionals. They should. The league has professionalized this. You can hear what Jordan said. And those of us who've got a deep-rooted passion for the sport in this country can all just have a smile on our faces. A lot of sacrifices, a lot of hard work goes in for a lot of people putting this together today. 4 games at the same time, lots to be decided, and we should be all thankful for that over the next few hours. It should be great.
Well, as mentioned, it is coming down, and you said it's been very wet since you arrived there, and that can sometimes make for a very cagey affair. How is the weather going to affect things?
Well, I spoke to James Merriman earlier, and he's an island boy, right? I'm not. I just get to visit this beautiful place every now and again. And I asked him, how many times have you had games like this before? He couldn't remember one as wet as this. You know, he could not remember one as this. But, you know, how does it impact the game? Well, I'm looking at the team in purple. For me, Pacific, they know what it's like here. This surface is sudden. It's sudden, and it's going to be fast. So we're going to find out a lot about how the speed of the game impacts it and what to forge up for, right? Ultimately, they've left a lot of players at home. There's a bit of sickness in the camp. You know, the likes of Becker's not here, Ajabapor's suspended, no Ampoma, no Badibanga, amongst others, Para as well. So there's a lot on the line here, and there's a lot favoring the home team. They're used to this. I don't expect caginess. I think if Pacific want this, they'll go out there and they've got to earn it. You mentioned it. Not quite sure how the iPads are going to stay dry on the bench as they look at the other results across One Soccer as they come in. But ultimately, Pacific know they control their destiny, and they've got to win the game.
Very big game for Pacific. Thanks, KJ. We'll check in with you a little later on in the show. And another team, of course, who is fighting for that 5th spot, that's Vancouver. They are in the nation's capital, taking on Atletico, Ottawa. For more on that, let's head to the 2 gentlemen who are calling this one. That would be Adam Jenkins and John Conway.
Absolutely thrilled to be here on the pitch with the outcome finally here after weeks of anticipation. John Conway, you went out for a nice walk this morning. I went out for a run along the Rideau Canal, and we're just enjoying these 19-degree temperatures. Perfect day for football. We're not stressed. I think Carlos Gonzalez and Afshin Gatbi might have a little bit more pressure on their shoulders. We know they both need to win this game to have the playoff outcome that they desire, but is there a team that needs this just a little bit more?
Yeah, for me, in my opinion, it's just simple. Vancouver, this game means a lot more because their playoff implications are on the line. They need to get the win, have a little help to boost themselves into the playoff position and be able to continue their season.
So it's an interesting catch-22, these games for Vancouver, because Ottawa knows that they're in the playoffs. Vancouver needs that just to get to the dance. But you have to be pragmatic, don't you? You can't go guns blazing right from the beginning. So how do the Eagles manage this to make sure they stay in and give themselves a chance to win?
And we were lucky enough to talk to Afshin Gatbi yesterday, and he mentioned this, and he said, we're going to defend first, we're going to limit the time and space, then we're going to look to create chances. Listen, over the last 2 games, that's sort of the method that they went with. And it's worked for them. They've gotten better and better in those matches. Last week in the second half, they made some substitutions, and they were more aggressive. In those last 25 minutes, they were spectacular, getting tons of chances and tying up the game. So I think you're going to see a lot of that today. On the other hand, for Ottawa, how do you break them down? What are you going to do to be able to do this? So I think they need to be smart, and when they step out, smart in how they press, smart in how they get in the attack to be able to not get opened up to create that many more chances for Vancouver.
Ottawa know already that they'll be hosting a playoff game here at TD Place, but they're also coming in off one of the best performances we've seen from them all season long. They know how to score again, they know how to be brave, they know how to be confident, and that second place might just be within their grasp, Andy.
What a juxtaposition in weather, by the way, between seeing KJ and we got Jenkins going for a run along the Rideau Canal. But yes, here are the playoff scenarios. So they can clinch second place, Ottawa with a win, and Cavalry draw or lose to Valor. Vancouver, though, they just want to get in. To clinch that 5th place spot, they need to win, and they also need Pacific to draw or lose versus Forge. So let's take a look at Atletico Ottawa's starting 11 here. Up front, Del Campo, Salter. We know Del Campo right now leading the way in the Golden Boot race. That'll be pretty exciting as well. See if he can pick up anything here. But when it comes to, Atletico, they're coming off a really big performance, as we know, Wheels, because they ended up beating Forge. So really keeping themselves in that conversation for second place. What are you expecting here?
Well, I'm a little bit surprised that there are changes in the starting 11. There was one forced change with Luke Singh suspended through card accumulation today, but there's 3 changes in this 11, including Balou Tabla coming out of the team. Jordan, I'm going to take your words, what you said after last week's game. It was Atletico Ottawa's best game of the season.
Hands down.
2-0 at Forge. This was a team that's been limping towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, this is only their 2nd win in their last 8 games. And having played so well and seemingly coming up with a proper mix, I am a little bit surprised that Tabla is out of the team. That one sticks out to me here.
Yeah, rightfully so. I thought he was excellent last week. I thought the chemistry and fluidity between Atletico Ottawa, specifically midfielders and attackers, were dynamite. I will say Forge weren't at their best last week, but Ottawa didn't make it easy for them. We have to talk about the nucleus, which is the middle. Sissoko, Aparicio, Bassett. I am so glad Carlos Gonzalez didn't change that, Andy, because if he did, I'd be wondering why. It was the best Atletico Ottawa performance we've seen all year, and he's getting the most out of his best players. So Tabla coming off the bench, we'll see if that works. I understand that you have to play Salter because he was exceptional last week, but a guy like Balou Tabla, he's a pain to play against. I would start him if I were him.
You have to win this game, and there's been calls over the season to play both Salter and Del Campo at the same time. 2 kind of number 9s, 2 up top, and he's doing so today in a much different way in a must-win game. So it's intriguing to me. They might, just a reminder, might be playing without Luke Singh come playoff time if he's handed supplementary additional punishment to an incident where there was a punch thrown in last week's game. So big spot for a young defender in Tier Walker to play alongside one of the top defenders in the Canadian Premier League in Amir Didic across the back line.
And you would hope as well the confidence spills over from the game against Forge because, by the way, the 2 goals they got came before Forge got the red card. So it's not like they got it with Forge being a man down. Let's hear from the coaches now, beginning with Carlos Gonzalez.
And it's easier said than done, but you need to win this game and have some results go your way for that 2nd spot. But you're also kind of sitting in a good spot knowing you'll get a home game in the playoffs. As a coach, how do you find that balance of searching for the 3 points without leaving yourself exposed and perhaps even losing this game and taking that 2nd spot off the table?
Well, I don't think that we should look too much at the 3rd position. I think we're hungry. I think we are an ambitious team, and we want to fight today to be in the 2nd position. If finally we cannot do it because Calgary wins his game, well, we will take it. But our focus is in doing a good game, in winning the 3 points, and also I think it's the best way to finish the regular season.
Afshin, you've been around the world, you've played in these big matches, you've coached these big matches. What does it take when the pressure is on the line to get the guys motivated without getting them too much in their own heads?
Well, it's all about embracing the pressure, and it's all about, in my opinion, enjoying the moment. I think as a professional, you prepare for these days, and you actually look forward to these days because it brings the best out of you. And I think our players are excited because for the last 2 years, we've sacrificed so much to be in a position to be able to earn a playoff spot. And I think it's a very exciting day for the league and also for our franchise.
So here's a look now at Vancouver starting 11. This team winless in their past 7, 0-3-4 their record. They are trailing Pacific by 2 points. So they're still in this race miraculously. They're going to need some goals from Diaz here. He's proven he can score. They're going to need a win. Is it too much to say, or are you in agreement that if they don't make the playoffs, Jordan, it's considered a failure?
It's tough because I think with 7, 8, and 12, that's their record. They have only Halifax have won less games than them with 6 this season. They started hot. They made me believe. You reminded me the other day that I thought they were going to score the most goals, which they clearly did not.
Nope. That's only one prediction you got wrong all year, my
fair,
friend.
but one where basically I'm trying to say is that they started this season hot and they've dipped. If they do make it and they do manage to get a win today and limp into the playoffs, I think that's a true success. But if they don't make it, I feel like they've been average for the good majority of the year, Wheels.
You're looking at Afshin Ghapi here. I really like him, but the responsibility is going to lay at his feet if the team doesn't make it into the playoffs. They're the worst team point-wise over the last 8 games of the season. They've only won once out of their last 8, twice out of their last 10. He's chopping and changing every week. There's no continuity in who he plays, in how he plays. And the unfortunate thing in it all, he's played as experienced players. There's some very good young players that haven't got and received an extended look this year as well. So I think it would be a huge setback for this very young club if they don't make the playoffs this year. It's been a case of who's going to go out and get it. And Vancouver were leading the pack up until last week, still in that 5th and final playoff spot. And now it's beyond their control here today. All they can do is come out and potentially put on a performance, but there's very little over the last 2 months that would suggest to me that they're capable of doing that here today.
They're going to need help even if they pull off a victory, but at the end of the day, in order to win, you got to score some goals. So how important is Diaz here?
Yeah, he's the guy. He's been the guy to step up, and I think just the quality that he has always gives him a chance. You see last week as well, where he just has that bit over strikers, over defenders to just put the ball in the back of the net. I will say to Wheels' point about Afshin Ghapi is, I feel as oftentimes, I know it's difficult to be a manager because you have to balance all these young men and injuries and who's the right selection for the week. But the fact that I feel like Afshin Ghapi has focused a little bit too much this season on that match at hand. You have to think about pairing, chemistry, who really can step up, motivate one guy, stroke this guy's ego, make sure that there's balance within the squad. I think that playing into moments has been to his detriment, but now, Wheels, this is the biggest moment, finding that 11, 12, 13 players that you need to go and produce, and maybe they can get it done for him.
But they've been risk adverse. Even today's 11 is very defensive in nature. They go out and trade Moses Dyer. He alongside Wero Diaz to start the season were on fire. They trade him to bring in Eamon Salouf. Maybe can be a little bit more of a catalyst from an attacking perspective. Can't get off the bench, Andy. Even last week, I thought they played great in the second half. Once he released the hounds, took off the harness to a certain degree here. I do think there's talent in this team, but 5 goals scored in your last 8 games?
Not good enough.
With that kind of attacking talent in the team, it's nowhere near good enough. Both teams, in fairness, have played safe. Far too safe over the last month of the season. So are either one of these sides willing to take off the safety belt here today?
Yeah, because some of these players that we're going to show you right now, they haven't scored in a while either, but they are in the Golden Boot race, and 2 of them are going to be going head-to-head here. And, Ruben Del Campo with Ottawa, and Diaz, who we've just been talking about, is trailing him by 1, representing Vancouver. So Reshevsky in that conversation with Cavalry, and then you have Brian Wright and Dan Nimick, who are down there. But, yeah, this will be fun to see who's going to get the Golden Boot for this year. But let's take a look now at the tonybet lines for Atletico Ottawa hosting Vancouver. Wheels, what's your play?
Under. Understruck. Under 2.5 at +112. These teams just don't show that they can score enough goals on a regular basis.
Watch this be a 4-3 thriller last day, right?
I would love that.
I would love it.
I'll happily be wrong.
Oh, I'll take it.
I'll take all kinds of goals, that's for sure. All right, so we got you set up there for Vancouver, Ottawa. We have 3 other games to get you set up for, and that will include Valor Cavalry. Cavalry, the other team, going up against Ottawa here for that 2nd spot in the standings to have that chance to play in the 1-2 game in the playoffs. Why does that matter? Because the winner of that goes straight to the final. Stay with us. It's The Outcome on One Soccer.
TonyBet, bet. TonyBet, get treated like a VIP. Bet on live games with odds on all sorts of sports. That's what you get when you bet with TonyBet, bet.
Don't miss the Canadian Premier League final. Saturday, November the 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern, live on CBC.
Degree 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree keeps working when others stop.
What makes a Burnbrae egg a Burnbrae egg? For generations, we've put more goodness in, so you get a whole lot more out of every single delicious egg. A lot goes into a little at Burnbrae Farms.
Oh, Carol! Always the earliest holiday shopper.
It's Holly. Uh-oh.
You know who's gonna win?
Holly.
Carol.
What?
Carol.
No, Holly.
Get out of here.
Welcome back to The Outcome, presented by tonybet. The final day of the regular season in the CPL. Perfect weather as well in Winnipeg as Valor gets set to host Cavalry. For more on this matchup, here's Nigel Reed and Oliver Platt.
Well, Ollie, you can't spell Winnipeg without a win. We know Valor has to do just that. They need help from elsewhere. But the question is, can they take care of their own business and give themselves a chance?
Yeah, I think it's a long shot, to be honest with you, to get everything they need and the stars to align today. But I do think with this Valor team, you have to give them some credit for being in the mix today. You know, this had a transition season written all over it. When you bring in 14 players, you start with 8 consecutive road games to start the season. And I think the way they've turned this season around to still be in the mix, to still be alive on the final day of the regular season, you have to give them some praise to that. They made a system change in the middle of July, an away game against Atletico, Ottawa. They switched to the 4-4-2 they're going to play today. Since then, they're the third points per game form team in the CPL. So there's something here. There's a lot of core players under contract for next year that I think they're going to take into 2025. It's just a case of, is it come too soon for the playoffs this season, or can they pull off a minor miracle today?
When I think of Cavalry, I think of consistency. There's no doubting their pedigree, and they have something to play for themselves. A win sorts out where they finish, gives them that easier path in the playoffs.
Yeah, plenty of incentive for them, and this is the big challenge for Valor today, is that this Cavalry side, you know, they're well tested against teams fighting for playoff position. Their last 3 games, Vancouver, Pacific, Halifax, knocked Halifax out last weekend and have taken 7 points from a possible 9 in those 3 games. They've only lost 1 in their last 13, which is away at Forge. So it's a massive task for Valor, but I think for this Cavalry team, you look at the past couple of games in particular since Jay Herdman's come into the starting lineup, it really feels like the final piece of the puzzle for them. They look as balanced and as in form as they have been at any point during the year.
Look forward to their call. So here's a look at the playoff scenarios. Valor's going to need a lot of help here in order to clinch that 5th place. So they'll have to win, but then they also need Vancouver draw or lose to Ottawa. And by the way, they're going to need Pacific to lose for Forge. A lot of stars are going to have to align there. Could happen. So you're saying there's a chance. For Cavalry, in order to get 2nd, they need to win, or if they draw or lose versus Valor, Atletico Ottawa needs to draw or lose to Vancouver. Or let's go to Cavalry now, sorry. This is their starting 11. Reshevsky, we just saw him in the Golden Boot race there. A goal, he'll end up tying Del Campo. And with Cavalry, the big talk here, Jordo, of course, has been, are they the ones who can dethrone Forge? We know they're making the playoffs. Whether it's the 2nd spot that they can hold on to, or at some point there's a feeling they'll face Forge. Can they do it? Is this the year they can do it?
I mean, I think so. I think with this bench, they probably are the strongest team. You saw Wright. You saw Lowell Wright as well on the bench. You saw Valling. They have players that can come off and do damage. You have Trafford on the bench. Look at this lineup. Camargo in the team, feeling fit. Musi has been a handful since he's come back from injury. Wojciechowski is probably, for me, the striker in the league that I wouldn't want to play against. He's a guy that can score from distance, get in the box, get in dangerous areas. Jay Herdman's been a great addition. What I'm trying to say is Cavalry have numbers. On a day where must win, they have weapons. I can guarantee you right now, Forge fans don't want to see Ali Musi come to Tim Hortons Field. They don't want to see this team try to play. I will say Forge is still the best team, but Cavalry for me, Wheels is number 2.
There's a couple changes to that starting 11. Camden's in at left back, Field is out, but largely it's the front 3 that has turned around this team's luck. It's turned around their season. Andy, what's the expression? Timing is everything. This is Cavs season. This was a team legitimately 2 months ago. We were saying, do they have enough to make the playoffs? Now they look the team that's most likely to go up against Forge in a potential Canadian Premier League final again. Ali Musi is the most valuable player in the Canadian Premier League. He's only going to be able to play about 16 games on the season, which probably isn't enough to win that award, Andy. But for me, no player, the success of their team is predicated on the play of one player more than it is Ali Musi on Cavalry. He is that good. Warshevsky, healthy now. Jay Herdman, savvy pickup. That left side of the field's been a big problem. He solidified that. Charlie Trafford available off the bench. Cobb's available on the bench. All of a sudden, you look at this team, they're as deep as they've been all season, which tells me that they're prepared to make a deep playoff run.
And Andy, we didn't even talk about Klump and Aird. We can spend a lot of time on those two as well. We give a lot of love to midfielders and the strikers that inevitably change games. But those two, for me, they deserve a lot of credit for Cavalry's success this season.
And it was probably just past the halfway point of the season, too, where they really started to round out into form. Slow start. I legitimately thought we were going to be sitting here on the outcome and say, are they on the outside looking in? Yeah, but no, they've put themselves in a position to finish second. Let's hear from the coaches, beginning with Tommy Wilden Jr.
Tommy, I know a lot of eyes will be on Valor in their playoff chase today, but you've got plenty to play for as well. How much of an incentive is it to have that chance to potentially host the CPL final?
Of course, listen, that's what we're in it for. We wanted to finish. I love the league table. You know, I'm a purist, so you want to finish as high as possible. For us, that's finishing in second place at this point. But, you know, given on the back end of the season, we've been very, very good, so we've got to carry on with that. You know, Valor, very similar to Halifax last week, they're going to play with some gusto, they're going to play with some skill, they're going to put their best effort forward. That puts us in good stead. We want to play against people's best, and we're hoping for a really good game.
Phil, last day of the regular season, 4 games kicking off at the same time. What would it mean to be able to pull this off for Valor today?
Yeah, excitement, a lot of excitement. I think that just the thought that, you know, there's a possibility, and we'll see where we're at in a few hours. You know, it's an exciting moment. We just have to believe. We have to focus on the process, focus on the game itself, and go all the way. Go all the way. That's how we see it.
Well, as you saw there in the scenarios, they need a win and they need a lot of other things to happen as well. Valor's starting 11 here of the original teams to have kicked off 2019 CPL. Valor's the only one that has yet to see the postseason. Can they do it? Can they do it, Wheels? What have you seen from them?
They're tough today. Honestly, it's been a valiant effort by Valor to get back in this thing. The story of their season, new field at Princess Auto Stadium. They played their first 7 games away from home. They got smashed in the Canadian Championship by Ottawa. This team looked like they were done. They were buried, and they weren't getting out of it. They put themselves midway through the season in a really good position. The problem is, every game here down the stretch, good performances, draw. They've drawn 5 of their last 8 games.
Maybe not going their way.
Well, the game against Ottawa is an absolute backbreaker, the late penalty that was given to Atletico Ottawa that robbed them 2 points. If they'd picked up those 2 points, then we might be in a different scenario. But they've had other chances. Like last week in a 1-1 draw against Vancouver, in what we called it a must-win, they look completely out of gas. So you just question right now whether there's enough in this team to get them over the line here. They need help. They're playing at home. They're the one team that's playing for that 5th and final playoff spot that's playing at home today. Interesting that Reza Rousseau and Quemi are both out of the starting 11 here today as well for Phil DeSantos. He's tinkered. The squad's a little bit deeper, but those 2 players on the bench to me surprised me because they've been 2 of their best players over the last few months.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Maybe that he's going that discipline route, I would say, with that midfield 3, keeping O'Heen and Dante Campbell and Mla, who's been an excellent pickup coming from CS St. Laurent mid-season. Valor, this is do or die. It's gut check time. Obviously, I'm stating something that's already in the air, and they know that. But you see with this team, they're so likable. So many players that you want to cheer for and root for. This man specifically, Dante Campbell, has played right back, left back, played in the middle. He's done it all for his team. And even speaking to them, this is all they've wanted: a 5th place spot, a chance at the dance to go in and do it. Today's it. You got to do your part, Wheels, and get that win, and then hope that the football gods take care of everything else.
It wasn't just that start of the season away from home. They brought in like 14, 15 new players.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing the group come together. Mortakudis and Facineri at center back have been excellent. They arguably have the best left back and a player that will have a lot of consideration in Defender of the Year, and Temi Etenoglu, who's been outstanding at that position. So they have some interesting pieces here. Again, good performances, that's fine, but they haven't just won enough games to take it over the line.
Tonybet lines as we take a look at this matchup here. What are you going with, Wheels?
I have a hard time thinking that Cavalry's not going to win this. Valor only ever beat them 3 times over the course of their history. So Cavalry's been thoroughly dominant, including the games this season. Got to back Cavalry to win at -122.
I would agree with you. I can't argue.
All right, so you could.
I'd lose that argument.
So these are 2 things we know. Forge is going to finish first, and York is going to finish 4th. But who will their opponent be? Because York will face the 5th place team. I like that. You got Pacific, Valor, Vancouver. Hey, who did that logo? Good on you. Nice little shout out putting those 3 together. It's the hybrid, the tri-bread. That'll happen on Wednesday, October 23rd. And we're going to talk about York's matchup because they too are in action today against Halifax, the only team officially eliminated from playoff contention. You are watching The Outcome here on One Soccer, presented by Tonybet.
Hey, let's go somewhere beachy. I don't like sand. What? What about Cancun sand? It's so soft. Or maybe Caribbean white sand. Sure. Ooh, Costa Rican sand. It's got dolphins.
Costa Rica, then?
Yeah, Costa Rica.
Good choice.
It was all him.
With over 50 sunny destinations to choose from, we have a flight for that.
WestJet is a proud sponsor of the Canadian Premier League.
This ultimate mouth-watering moment is brought to you by the big, bold, ultimate taste of Ultimate Chicken Hot Dogs, only from Maple Lodge Farms.
Oh, Carol! Always the earliest holiday shopper.
It's Holly. Uh-oh.
You know who's gonna win?
Holly.
Carol.
What?
Carol.
No, Holly.
Get out of here.
Volkswagen, the official automotive partner of the Canadian Premier League.
This one is for you.
Beautiful weather in Halifax as well as they get set to host York United. Halifax has known for a while now that they are not going to be making the playoffs, but York, they know, and they've known for a while too, they've been in 4th. They just don't know who their opponent is, and this is their starting 11. This has got to be a tricky game, Jordan, only because you want to, keep your rhythm going. You want to make sure you're ready for the playoffs, but you're also taking on a team that's not going to be making the playoffs. You don't want to risk any kind of injury. I can imagine all the things that just start to go through your head when you think of this final game.
Yeah, you start to chop and change. One that you have to talk about is Elijah Adekugbe. He's been a mainstay for York United ever since Benjamin Moore has come to the squad. And honestly, in my opinion, has built the team around him in some respects. Someone who sits and plays passes forward. But I think the big one today, Wheels, has to just be the fact that Mo Babouli back in the lineup and hasn't played since September 28th against Forge and has come out with a back injury. The fact that I will say it's a bit of a risk to go and play him when you have a big match that matters on Wednesday. But then there are people also saying you need to go and test it. You need to go and see what he's capable of. If you go and maybe play him, wait for Wednesday, and he plays 20 minutes and comes out with a back injury, you're like, maybe you should have tried him earlier. So I don't know how people feel about that one.
You got to test him now. Saturday, Wednesday isn't that difficult. You're playing at home. Like, look, this team, their season was derailed. They went from a contender for the Canadian Premier League Shield to a team that settled into that 4 spot. This has been a disappointing final 10 games. They've lost 5 times, and they've only scored 7 goals in the last 10 games. It's not just Babouli. He needs to give it a go today. No Babouli, no party, no chance for York United on Wednesday, no matter who they play. Frank Stirring on the bench today. He's been out for a long time. Noah Botnay, they've missed those 2 center backs.
Absolutely.
They've lost the complete spine of this team, Jordan. They need these players on the field to show their manager, Benjamin Moore, whether they can contribute come playoff time. So for me, this is a big game for York to get some of these players reacclimated. No Ferrari, that might be proceeding with caution a little bit because he's played like almost every minute of the season, but I think it's a balancing act today for Benjamin Moore.
And I will be the one to say this because the team will never say it. And why would they? I mean, they want more. They want to go out and win. But I have to say, when you make a coaching change, when you make ownership change, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's a solid year. Of course, they're going to say that's not enough.
Something
rightfully so. Exactly. That's what they're going to say. But it is still something to celebrate. For Halifax, we know that there's going to be work to do, especially in the off season. Because what does that look like? A lot of these players will probably be auditioning for spots next year. But if you were to look at maybe some of the players to build around Wheels, what are you thinking with Halifax?
Most disappointing team in the Canadian Premier League by far. They started the season with 4 straight losses, and they've been petulant, and there has been nowhere near enough leadership in this team. And they're playing 3 players who are under 21 today, the team that has played the fewest under 21 minutes in the Canadian Premier League. The players that I believe going forward you can build around, this man right here, Sean Rea, I kind of feel for him a little bit. He jumped on a moving train that was kind of spinning out of control to a certain degree. We know his quality both here in Major League Soccer, what he can bring to the table. And Nassim Mekadech at center back, I honestly think, give him a full season in the Canadian Premier League, he can be one of, if not the top center back in this league. He has been that good since he stepped in. It's been a difficult year. Sophomore slumps for players like Nimick, Caligari, and Farron. They've been disappointing. But I think these 2 newcomers give a reason to believe that this turnaround can come quickly next year for Halifax.
Yeah, Patrice Geyser wanted some players to come and buy in and change the environment a little bit too late. But Mekadech and Ray I think, are class players to start with. I have to also go with Nimick and Farron, who are outstanding. Andy, last season, they finished 3rd, but they were second on points. Like, this team, this is why we're being hard on them, is they finished 8th, and they should have finished much higher in the table. But there are players that they just didn't come up and show up for the season. So I think with Patrice Geyser, there's some players you got to ask some questions about moving forward.
Yeah, it's always a little disappointing when you finally make the playoffs. For the first time ever, you host a home playoff game, and then the following year, you're out of the conversation. But when it comes to the TonyBet lines, what's your pick here, Wheels?
I think Halifax will try to reward what has and continues to be an outstanding fan base, lots of support in Halifax. I'll back a Halifax win in this one. I think the performance is more important than the result for York United here.
You know, I don't think Halifax are winning. I think it's either York or a draw. And I'm going to say today I don't want any draws. So York.
No, we don't want draws. We also want a great game on October 25th. By the way, the Canadian women will be back on the pitch. They'll be taking on the reigning World Cup champions, Spain. October 25th, 2:45 p.m. ET, international friendly, right here on One Soccer. We've taken you through 3 of the 4 matchups, so when we come back, it's the 4th and final matchup. Forge, who we know are the CPL Shield winners, will be taking on Pacific, who currently are renting 5th spot. They don't own it yet. They want to own it. We'll get you set for that match next. The outcome on One Soccer by TonyBet.
tonybet. At tonybet, get treated like a VIP. Bet on live games with odds on all sorts of sports. That's what you get when you bet with tonybet. Bet.
Don't miss the Canadian Premier League final, Saturday, November the 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern, live on CBC.
Degree, 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree, keeps working when others stop.
What makes a Burnbrae egg a Burnbrae egg? For generations, we've put more goodness in, so you get a whole lot more out of every single delicious egg. A lot goes into a little at Burnbrae Farms.
Oh, Carol! Always the earliest holiday shopper.
It's Holly. Uh-oh.
You know who's gonna win?
Holly.
Carol.
What?
Carol.
No, Holly.
Get out of here.
It's the outcome presented by tonybet right here on One Soccer. The final day of the regular season. All four teams kicking off at 4 p.m. ET. That includes Pacific Forge. And when KJ first arrived last night, it was still raining. As you can see, the clouds still hovering over the island. This is what he had to say in his first impressions of this matchup.
2024 has already seen a remarkable rise for the sport in this country. On Saturday, another chapter will be written as the Canadian Premier League's final four games are played at the same time. After 108 games, 27 weeks, where over 450,000 fans will have come through the gates, we have one more day. I have made my way here to a wet Vancouver Island to see Pacific FC, who are in 5th place, take on league winners Forge FC. For the first time, though, Forge are not quite the story in this one. Of all the scenarios and storylines to play out on Saturday, the biggest of them all lies here with James Merriman's Pacific FC. Champions in 2021, semi-finalists in 2022 and 2023, they hold the 5th and final playoff spot with both Vancouver and Valor hoping to steal it from them. Fittingly, if they want it, they have to come through this side in Langford, BC to take it from them. It's not been an easy year for this team. Separate winless streaks of 7 and 5 games show struggles that began in the summer of 2023 when they were the top of the league. Since then, 46 points from 43 games show the inconsistencies. Yet despite the losses of a key core of champions such as Marco Bustos, Alejandro Diaz, Amir Didic and Manny Aparicio, one thing that is abundantly clear about this group is their mentality and spirit in big moments. Performances in CONCACAF, CPL playoffs and the Canadian Championships, where they were semi-finalists again this year, speak to that. And as they trained here for one last time before the outcome on Saturday, you can sense those experiences fuel them to do it again.
So here are the playoff scenarios for these two teams. Pacific will clinch 5th spot with a win or a draw and Vancouver draw or lose. Or they can also clinch with a loss, Vancouver draw or lose, and a Valor draw or lose. As we know, Forge has clinched that first spot. They are just awaiting who that second spot will go to, who their opponent will be for the first and second place playoff matchup. Winner of that straight to the final. Here's Pacific starting 11, and KJ kind of touched on a lot of it too, just the up and down season. They were so great defensively, then they really had trouble finding the back of the net while letting in goals. Then they found their scoring touch again. Here's KJ with their head coach, James Merriman.
James, wet day out here, but certainly you're looking for a bright result. What's the expectations today and the message to the team ahead of this huge game for your club?
Yeah, the message has been consistent the entire week, is to control what we can control and focus on the game in front of us, not play into the scenarios of the other matches. Of course, we know what it is, but we need to focus here. We know we win and we're in, and that's in our control, and that's where the focus needs to be.
Let's get into your 11. Emil Gazdov back from suspension, has started 20 games, but you've gone with Sean Melvin. Why?
Yeah, I think, it's a difficult decision. Obviously, the mistake Emil knows in the last match that he played here. Sean Melvin stepped up. He was very good in the game against York. Obviously, you see the team. We haven't changed much. We stay with that team. We take care of this game, and then hopefully we push through and get into the playoffs, and that's another conversation.
Quickly, one on your attack. You got 12 goals in your last 7 with Dario up front and Dyer. Previously, you struggled to score. What do you like about those two up front together?
Yeah, I think it's, Moses has really helped Dario. He's brought him back to life, so to speak, and Dario's been a big leader down the stretch as well. He's kind of, used his experience and been more vocal in the locker room and in the team, and I think that's contagious, and you see it in the performances and the chemistry, and even with the goal with Rion Moore, the unselfish pass, that shows what he's bringing. So it's been a very good combination down the stretch, and we hope for big things today.
Another big day for your club. Enjoy it.
Thank you, KJ. Appreciate it.
James, pretty open in that one. What has turned things around for them that's maybe going to lead you to believe they can solidify this 5th spot?
Well, they're starting to score goals. That certainly helps. Honestly, during the midway point of the season, and Jordan's been there before with York United in the past, sometimes you just feel no matter what you do, you're not going to score a goal. Like, they were dreadful. Like, it was nil, like, every game they played. Now, all of a sudden, they've scored 12 in their last 7 games.
Yeah.
Scored 19 in the previous 20 before that in the CPL. So that certainly helped. Players have stepped up. I just think that they're finally in a moment where they're feeling confident. They're playing so much more free. It was like they were playing so defensive for so long. You take the shackles off a little bit, then they've been able to show something. Let's see how they deal with the pressure today, because there is significant pressure. This is a team that controls their own destiny, and they play the best team in the Canadian Premier League without their best players. We'll get to the Forge starting 11. This is a weak Forge side that they're playing here today. If they don't go on and punch their playoff ticket, this season, despite making a Canadian Championship semifinal, would go down as a massive disappointment.
On a wet day, last game of the season, at home, you're playing Forge, who you beat in the North Star Cup 2021. There's some players that are in the heart of this team that know that feeling, what it means to lift that trophy. And you win, and you're in, as Wheels already said. There is nothing else that can block this team. You ask me what has got them here, I'll say the partnership and chemistry and cohesion that we've seen as of late. That was not there in the middle of the season or the beginning of the season. Zanata has 4 goals in the last 10. Dyer has come in and, for me, been a game changer in this team with 4 goals. Zanata had 2 pens, but I'll still count them, the 4 goals. It needs to be said. They are playing now and scoring. But all that means nothing, Trills, if they go here today at home and lay an egg.
Back 4 remains solid. That's been solidified. TMG, Mayor Jaguar's been great.
Top player.
Playing Melvin over Gazdov, that's a big call today. And Merriman explained it. I mean, I think Gazdov has been one of the best goalkeepers in the Canadian Premier League. Another big call, Rayon Moore scored a brace in the last game that had put Pacific in this season. That's a big call to keep him out of the starting 11 when all your players, it's not as if necessarily have been lighting the world on fire. Super sub, is that it? Is that his role? We'll see. And Josh Hurd, available for the first time. Last time he played was August 11th.
Yeah.
This is the club captain that they've been playing without. So no excuses today for Pacific. Have to go out and win this.
Are you whispering that in case Forge is listening? As we bring you Forge's starting 11, don't let them know that he's possibly a super sub. Well, look, here are the subs for Forge as well.
More is more.
As we take a look at their starting 11, too. The team that has won the CPL Shield and has earned a berth in CONCACAF Champions Cup next season. They are now trying to do what no other team has ever done, which is win the Shield and the North Star Cup in the same year. Here's Bobby Smyrniotis.
Bobby, a game that has no bearings on the standings for you, but certainly helps you prepare for next week's qualifying semi-final. What are you looking at for your team today?
Yeah, performance. That's the most important thing. You know, we got some rotation of the players in the lineup and making sure that they're getting a good run in, making sure we're going through our processes, try a few different things that maybe we look at. And, you know, that's been our process since that game in Valor. It's preparing for the 27th. So this is just part of it.
And great news for Forge fans. Tristan Borges is here in the 11. What can we expect from him, and how much of a boost is that?
Yeah, he's been one of our most crucial players. You look at between him and Ali Hojabrapur, they've been our our links in the midfield, getting ourselves moving, and for him being out the last couple of games is to get out there in this beautiful weather, get through his motions and have a positive performance and prepare us for next week.
Last one, Bobby. Only 2 outfield players in the history of the league have played every minute of the game in the season. Alex Ashino-Johnson can be the 3rd today. What does that stat mean to you, and what does Alex mean to you?
Yeah, Alex is everything to us. He's the start of our play. Not only is he an excellent defender, but he keeps everything ticking for us from the back moving forward. We don't look too much at the stats. He'll get his run in today, but the guy's excellent. He's been here for 6 years. 6 years. We've had a lot of success with him in the lineup, and we want to keep on going.
Thanks, Bobby. Good luck. Enjoy today.
Thank you.
KJ's umbrella work with that interview, not good.
Selfish.
That was a little
We've all done it. We've all done it. Here, let me hold this for you.
Poor Bobby is just dripping down.
Just the edge of the water coming up.
What happened, KJ?
I love it.
So it's a slick haircut. No hair up top. Just drips off.
Yeah, really. So a lot of good news, obviously, for Forge. We've been explaining it. They're going to, head into the playoffs. Firstly, though, you want to go in with another win here because you don't want to go into the playoffs with back-to-back losses. But more than anything, let's talk about a suspension. Daniel Parra means a lot to this team. It has come down. He has been suspended for 3 games. By the way, Forge can appeal this, but just how does this change the look of this team?
He's one of the best left backs, if not the best left back in the Canadian Premier League. But most importantly, right there, you see the action. For me, it's good enough to be suspended. There are things you need to do as a player. There are lines that you can maybe flirt with. This is one that you cannot cross. You cannot strike an opponent. I know people might say that might be soft, but playing the game, playing in this league specifically, there are things you can do and get away with and maybe warrant a yellow, but that for me is a suspension. And I will say, Forge have to change the way that they play a little bit. Olabi Bellewu playing left back, more defensive-minded, good at going forward. But Parr would bomb down the left, give crosses, come inside, sometimes be like an extra midfielder. For me, you can't replace a guy like that.
But they will, and they've done it this year because he didn't play in Can Champ against Toronto FC. Do you know who played that position? Malika Olawabi Bellewu, who put Federico Bernardeschi in his back pocket. He won't go, but Olawabi Bellewu making the gallivanting runs forward. They're just going to have to play in a little bit of a different way. So boo-hoo. First of all, I don't like in any sport, let alone in football, legislating or making calls and suspensions like this when the call wasn't made on the field initially.
I hear you.
I don't like that. It's unfortunate that it's 3 games. Seems a little bit harsh for me, Andy. So they're going to have to adjust. But for me here today, Bobby said performance is important. Look, Jordan Hamilton has 1 goal this season. 1 goal. It's been a dreadful year. Kone hasn't played. Kane hasn't played. A rare start for Dom Samuel today. Again, this is the reason why I think that Pacific can get after Forge a little bit. Yeah, they have great players. Matusala, Ashin Yodi-Janssen, Borges, Jensen's been on great form, but this is nowhere near a first choice Forge side. They're already looking to October 27th, playing at home with a chance to host yet another Canadian Premier League final.
TonyBet lines for this matchup. Where you going, Wheels?
I like the under in this game, but I like Pacific to edge it. They have to. I'm backing Pacific to be the 5th and final playoff team here. Against this Forge side, no excuses, and I'm not going to make one for them.
Plus 240, Forge win. I understand what Wheels is saying, but for me, even Forge's second team, air quote, is still good enough to go out and win this game. Absolutely.
All right, guys, we're here for the long haul. It's going to be my first ever match night.
Come on, Trills.
I know, I can't
Get
wait.
excited.
Do
I get to go home? Come on.
No, you're staying, buddy.
Match night. Match night.
Match night.
It's an improvement, in fairness.
I'll get there.
Improvement.
Listen, it's because I am too jacked up for The Outcome, presented by TonyBet. We have set you up now for all 4 matches that are kicking off in just 10 minutes' time. Who will Forge face? Who will York face? Who will get that final playoff spot? We're going to find out in The Outcome.
On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, we encourage Canadians to pause and remember all that veterans have sacrificed for us, lest we forget.
At CIBC, we know that nothing feeds ambition like momentum. So no matter what your goals are, from starting a business to sending money back home, conversation with us about your goals can set everything in motion. And once that ball of possibilities gets rolling, watch out, world.
Degree, 72-hour nonstop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree, keeps working when others stop.
Don't miss the Canadian Premier League final, Saturday, November the 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern, live on CBC.
This one is for you.
We are getting set. Kickoffs are just around the corner. Here's how things stand right now heading into the matchups. Of course, we will be giving you some live updates throughout. By the way, all these games available on the One Soccer YouTube channel. By the way, you can have your chance to win $5,000 by participating in the CPL Playoff Bracket Challenge presented by tonybet. Challenge starts tomorrow. Head on over to campl.ca for more details. $5 Gs? I'm playing.
$5 Gs.
Let's play, baby. Maybe we can start placing some bets on who's going to win the Golden Boot. Who do you think? Del Campo's leading now.
Do you know what I think is going to happen?
What's going to happen?
I'm looking at Tobias Warshevsky. With bags of brace today, come away with the Golden Boot against Valor. Cavalry always play good against Valor. Warshevsky looks back. He looks fit. Scored last week. I'm looking at Warshevsky to maybe pull a little bit of an upset here.
Can I say what I don't want? I don't want it to be a tie. I don't like when you share that award. Someone go out and win it. Del Campo, you haven't scored in a while.
Last year?
I don't like it. Like, you hold a picture too. Like, what are you holding? There needs to be one outright Golden Boot winner. Del Campo, go score a goal today, Papa.
The message has been sent. We're obviously making a big deal of the fifth and final playoff spot because it's still up for grabs, but you're more curious, too, about who's going to finish second.
Yes, because Wheel said Cavs season. I will say they're the second best team in the Canadian Premier League. I think they're heating up. How hot? Something on the line. We need you in pressure time to go out. I want to see them destroy Valor. I love Valor, love their coach, love the way they've been playing. But I want to go see, if you really want that second place spot, go win 3-0 today. Atletico Ottawa, they played the best performance last week. And in Atletico Ottawa fashion, what would they do the week after? Play safe, play backwards, passes to the keeper, very tentative. Go out and dominate today. That's what I want to see. If you're going to be a second-place team, show that you should be there and it shouldn't be a fluke.
Whoever gets fifth place, it's almost like a punishment in a way because you have to run through the gauntlet. Like, yeah, you made the playoffs, but number two, finishing second place is huge. You not only are one of two teams with a chance to host the final, you win your next game against Forge, you go on and host the Canadian Premier League final. Beyond that, if Forge end up doing the double this year, winning the Shield and the North Star Cup, second place qualifies for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And you know that's something that's in Cavalry. It's part of their expectation year in, year out. That's where Atletico Ottawa wants to be. So that 2-3 between Cavalry and Ottawa, that's huge today. That's what I'm going to be paying attention to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that matters. And I think that's what's been so great ever since they changed this a couple of years ago, the playoff format. To your point, so 1 and 2, you win that, you go straight to the final. If you finish fifth, great. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, getting a ticket to the dance is bad, but you're right. Now you've got to play, like, what is it, 3 games before you can even...
Away. Everything away.
Everything away. So, having said that, fifth place is up for grabs, and we really want to see who gets it. Right now, Pacific is sitting there, but you know that Vancouver and Valor nipping at their heels. Cavalry, Atletico, they want that second spot. York is the only one, and Forge, who have solidified their spots. It's Forge in first. It's York United in fourth. So both of them are awaiting their opponents. This is it.
This.
It all comes down to the last day. I love it when this matters. Oh,
enjoy it.
Is this what we're doing? Enjoy. To everyone at home, I hope you enjoy this. Remember, all games available on the One Soccer YouTube channel on the main network. We are going to stick with Vancouver and Atletico Ottawa, but we will keep you updated on everything else happening in those other games. Buckle up. Here we go, CPL fans. The outcome presented by tonybet on One Soccer. Kickoffs coming up after the break.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.ca.
I wanna run back to you. All I wanna do is run back to you and make my dreams come true. The only thing I ever do is run right back to you.
When the stakes are high, only the TELUS 5G network delivers.
CIBC is a proud partner of the Canadian Premier League.
At CIBC, we know that nothing feeds ambition like momentum. So no matter what your goals are, from starting a business to sending money back home, a conversation with us about your goals can set everything in motion. And once that ball of possibilities gets rolling, watch out, world.
TonyBet, bet.
At TonyBet, get treated like a VIP. Bet on live games with odds on all sorts of sports. That's what you get when you bet with
TonyBet, bet.
Tony.
It is the final day of the Canadian Premier League regular season. It's the outcome presented by TonyBet. And in the Pacific Northwest, the rain is falling, and it is a crucial match for the home side, Pacific FC, taking on the CPL Shield winners in Forge FC. All 4 matches at one time, all 8 Canadian Premier League teams on the pitch for the first time in league history. And at Starlight Stadium this afternoon, it is as crucial as it gets for Pacific FC, holding its playoff destiny against the top side in the CPL this year. We will have the match, and we will also keep an eye on all of the games around the CPL today. The outcome presented by TonyBet is next.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.ca.
Oh, Carol! Always the earliest holiday shopper.
It's Holly. Uh-oh.
You know who's gonna win?
Holly.
Carol.
What?
Carol.
No, Holly.
Get out of here.
This ultimate mouth-watering moment is brought to you by the big, bold, ultimate taste of Ultimate Chicken Hot Dogs, only from Maple Lodge Farms.
Volkswagen, the official automotive partner of the Canadian Premier League.
Yeah. Take my
This one is for you.
WestJet is a proud sponsor of the Canadian Premier League.
At CIBC, we know that nothing feeds ambition like momentum. So no matter what your goals are, from starting a business to sending money back home, a conversation with us about your goals can set everything in motion. And once that ball of possibilities gets rolling, watch out, world.
CIBC is a proud partner of the Canadian Premier League.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer
At Starlight Stadium in Langford, British Columbia, tensions are high with the season hanging in the balance for the home side Pacific FC taking on big rival and CPL Shield winners Forge FC. Here are the referees for today's match, led by the 27-year-old from Joliette, Quebec, Michael Venn. It's his 34th career CPL appearance and the 14th of this year. For James Merriman, it's just one change, and it is Reed coming into the midfield. It is a massive moment for the player wearing number 10, Ajnaya Reed, the Brampton, Ontario native. Big start for Sean Melvin, perhaps the biggest of his CPL career. This is only his 16th career CPL game. But for Mr. Melvin, it is a massive opportunity and a surprise as well, leaving young and talented goaltender Emil Gazdov returning from suspension on the bench today in the wet weather. For Bobby Smirniotis with the #1 seed all wrapped up, it is a rotated side today, including Chris Colongo starting in goal for the first time since August the 29th. Only 4 players retained their spot from last weekend's outing, a 2-0 defeat against Atletico Ottawa. That's Schwanier, Ashinodi Janssen, Oluwabi Belawu, and Noah Jensen. It is the first career start for Kane in the middle. Kenan Kane, the 19-year-old, will have a nice roll today. And as you can see, it is wet. They're used to that on Vancouver Island and in the Pacific Northwest, a 14-degree Celsius day with the winds blowing to the north at 10 kilometers per hour. My name is Matt Cullen, and it is always a pleasure to be seated next to former Canadian men's national team player Jimmy Brennan. Jim, a massive moment for that man right there. We just saw Sean Melvin. Coach James Merriman saying that he is rewarding Melvin for the excellent work he put in at York Lions Stadium. A crucial win for his side, 2-1, made a couple of key saves down the stretch, and also looked better in training, according to Coach.
That's what it's all about now. It's an important game. You want to play in these big games as a player. And obviously with Melvin, he's performing well, performing in training. He's caught the eye of the manager, and the manager's got the trust in him, and that's why he's getting that opportunity.
So the 30-year-old from Victoria will be in the net for Pacific FC. And it will be the 22-year-old Chris Colongo minding the net for Forge FC. We are underway from Langford, BC at Starlight Stadium. Thanks for joining us on a massive day in the Canadian Premier League. It's The Outcome, presented by tonybet. Pacific, they control things in their own hands. They have to win to secure that final playoff spot. Jim, they're 2 points better than Vancouver FC and 3 points better than Valor FC. Of course, the entertainment will come with both of those teams in action as we speak.
What a great weekend it is, though, for the Canadian Premier League. And that's what you want come the end of the season. You want it to be tight at the top, tight at the bottom, and everybody fighting for positions. And for this Pacific side, they control their own destiny now. They're in that position, 5th place. They need a result today. I expect them to be on the front foot. It is raining there. It's on an artificial turf. The ball's going to be quick. And the tempo should be very high today.
Pacific can also sneak into the 5th and final playoff spot with a draw or even a loss, but then that would require other results to go their way. First touch on this rainy afternoon for the 30-year-old keeper Sean Melvin, his 6th appearance for Pacific FC on the season. Did play 11 games for Atletico Ottawa over the span of a couple of seasons. Made a big save down the stretch against teenagers Shola Jimo to keep the Tridents ahead in that big match last Thursday. And for Bobby Smirdionis, this can be a difficult game, Jimmy, because they've wrapped up the CPL Shield. We've known that now for a couple of weeks. And obviously the goal is to stay healthy for the playoffs, but you do want to go in on a high note. And the last time that Forge has lost 2 matches in a row, well, it goes back to last October. It doesn't happen often as the ball sent into the area and quickly sent away.
No. But Forge had a terrific season. And you're right, I mean, going into this match, you want to get a result. They want 3 points because you want to keep that momentum going into playoffs. At the same time, you want to remain healthy. I'm sure Bobby's sitting on the sidelines thinking, okay, let's be competitive, let's go for the result. But at the same time, we need everybody coming off this pitch healthy and fresh and ready for the next match.
Sent away by Forge FC, and the man wearing the captain's armband is Thomas Mayer-Giguère. Back to collect. And then Sean Young in the middle. Plays to Moses Dyer. Dyer is ball forward, forcing Kalongo to come out. A rather unfortunate collision there. And Janiyah Reed crashing in.
Yeah, you can see Nigel thinks he can just nick it here, just gives a little shove. Obviously, he realizes, you know, it's his fault, his mistake. That's why he tries to pick up Metasula.
Ashinodi Janssen has played every minute of every game for Forge FC. A quick conversation with Chris Kalongo, who has been on the bench more often than not, in favor of Jassim Kolelat. But of course, in a game like today, it's an opportunity for Bobby Smirdionis to keep his side fresh as well, heading into that big 1-2 game, which will be next Saturday. Let's take a look at our CIBC player spotlight, and it is the Mississauga-born Kunle Dadaluk, the 24-year-old. He has been terrific for Pacific FC over the last stretch. Was named in the Gatorade Team of the Week. The 2-1 win over the Nine Stripes from York United, and he has also played 90 minutes in each of the last 8 matches for James Merriman. Speaking of Dadaluk, takes the ball, though a foul is whistled, as that's Juan Quintana, Colombian defender, is in some discomfort.
I think as he wins the ball here off of Jordan Hamilton, just flicks it to Dadaluk, and Coney just comes by and more or less gives him a clothesline. But going back to Dadaluk, I mean, he is a great player. He's had a wonderful season this year. He's so important to this side. He brings so much pace and energy down that right side. I'm sure James Merriman's going to be relying on him heavily to get forward today and hopefully get some balls into the box for his strikers.
Pierre Lamotte, the 27-year-old, in his second year with the Tridents, is whistled there. And there is the 39-year-old from Nanaimo, just up the road on Vancouver Island. James Merriman says this is exactly the type of match that he and his team have been playing for. When they hold their own destiny, every player wants to play in this match, even if it is against the top side in the CPL. It's a pressure cooker today for James Merriman.
Oh, absolutely it is. It really is. All these games, especially when they mean so much and how important it is to get a result. And look, as a manager, when you got your players that are all fighting hard throughout the week in training because they want to play in this match, you know they're up for it. You can't be too conservative. At some point in this match, you're going to have to take some risks because you have to get that result. And I'm sure him and his staff, they'll be getting updates as well across the board, how the other teams are doing.
I was going to say, when you were on the touchline for York United, and there are other crucial fixtures ongoing, what's your strategy? Do you have someone whisper in your ear what the situation is, or do you prefer not to know until maybe later in the second half?
No, I'm the type of guy, I want to know what's going on because it could kind of dictate what you're going to do as a coach as well. You know, if another team's losing, then sometimes maybe you don't have to make these changes. You don't have to take risks because now you know that you're in a position that if you can just hold on the way the score line is, then you're going to be fine. So it is important. You do want to know because it can dictate how you're going to make your changes.
Ball is forward to Reed. Did have a step, although he is handled nicely by Forge FC. There's Jensen, who has had a nice season with Forge FC, and perhaps even a breakout season with 5 goals in his last 8 games, including a brace against these Tridents back on August the 29th. Down that far side, it is Dadaluk. Loses possession. And it is played back to the Forge back line. Jensen with Kadim Kane in his first CPL start. Amadou Kone making his 5th start. And there is Bobby Smirdionis, who guided the Hammers from Forge FC to the franchise's 2nd career CPL Shield, doing so in 2021 as well. 4-time winners of the North Star Cup. And a chance to do the first ever CPL double, Jimmy. So, of course, that's got to be on his mind. A few wins to go before that one.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind that Bobby, Forge, the staff, they want to win everything if they can. And that's what happens. It becomes a habit, doesn't it? You just want to keep winning more and more. You want more trophies. You want to be the best.
Through ball from Lamoth, looking for Dario Zanetta. Zanetta shrugging his shoulders in disappointment as that ball was cut off at the last possible moment. Dadaluk has got to do a bit of defending here, and that's against Kadim Kane, former CF Montreal Academy man. Youngster, something that Forge also has to keep in mind today as well, as they do need a few minutes from their under-21 players to pass over the 2,000-minute threshold, currently short by 51 minutes. League requirement to have the young under-21 players on the pitch. Quintana facing some pressure from Kane. Do you enjoy playing in the rain, Jim?
Yeah, I actually did. I preferred it. I think you just feel you can breathe better, it's cooler, the pitch is slicker, the ball moves a lot faster, the tempo of the game's a lot quicker. I always enjoyed playing in the rain. Mind you saying that, I did play in England for 13 years, and I don't think I've played one game without it raining.
Well, there is Sean Melvin, the biggest start in his CPL career. He's played the last 2, essentially, for Pacific FC, as a red card in the 3rd minute for Emil Gazdov, a punch of the hand towards the ball well outside the penalty area. Sent him off, and Melvin came in and then also handled the big 2-1 win. Well, Gazdov was suspended, so he's seen a lot of the pitch over the last 3 match weeks. This, of course, by far the biggest. Greco Taylor restarts, and it's Quintana with Dadaluk and Reed on that right side. Lamoth in the middle. Pacific knows that they will need to be brave in this match to go out and take 3 points, guarantee that 5th and final playoff spot. But also on the other end of that, Jimmy, as you know, is you don't want to do too much to make a mistake, and that's something that James Merriman addressed with his team as well, especially some of these young players, says they're ready for this big moment.
You don't want to make mistakes, absolutely, but I mean, at the same time as well, wouldn't it be nice to get a goal early? And I think sometimes you just got to come out the gates a little bit quicker, pressing, try to win the ball in good areas, make something happen, because if you can get that early goal, then it can change the game.
Ball given away by Sean Melvin. Greco Taylor did well to keep it in play, but Forge will set things up with Jensen. Plays back to Garvin Matusula, who is back in the 11 for Bobby Smirdionis after representing Haiti on international duty. This is Davia Chouanier and Tristan Borges. Some early action so far, and the outcome presented by tonybet. Valor home to Cavalry, leading 1-0. Abdul Binate scoring in the 7th minute, so that's something that Pacific FC will have to worry about, is there is an outside chance that Felipe Dos Santos' men from Valor can leapfrog over not one but two teams and make the franchise's first ever playoff appearance. And also some goal scoring today at Wanderers grounds with a Dan Nimick own goal. He's had more than a few of those this year, so it's York United 1 and Halifax 0. That's actually the only match that doesn't directly affect the standings. And of course, Halifax out of the playoff mix after a slow start. A decent stint midway through the year, but just a little bit too little too late for Patrice Geyser and the Wanderers, who were a playoff team last year, but not this year. And York United, of course, already locked in to that 4th seed at 39 points. Unable to catch up to Atletico Ottawa, currently in 3rd. Ball is through and cleared away by Ashinodi Janssen. This will be the first corner kick of the match. Pacific had 12 corner kicks in the match against York United with very limited success. They will need to improve those set pieces.
Yeah, especially today. I'm sure they've been working on them this week, focusing on the delivery in the box, the movement for the players that are ready for that service.
Reed set to deliver in the 15th minute now, quarter of an hour. Good ball in, and it's headed away there by Kone. And we'll do a second straight corner kick. Kane in the mix there as well. So we shift over to the other corner flag. This will be Stephen Yates in his 26th appearance of the season. Yates delivers. Jordan Hamilton at the near post with some sturdy defending, and the ball is away from danger. Lamotte. Reed, good ball in. Kalongo sure-handed in this difficult weather. Rain pelting down on the surface at Starlight Stadium. Live odds presented by tonybet, favoring the home side today. Visit tonybet.com throughout the match to consult those. Again, of course, we'll keep an eye on the other matches so far. Vancouver FC at TD Place to take on Atletico Ottawa, and Ottawa, who had that terrific start to the season, Jim, 9 straight matches unbeaten, have, well, sort of gone up and down with Carlos Gonzalez over the back part of the season, but there is an opportunity for Atletico Ottawa to jump into that second spot, trailing Cavalry by 2 points.
Yeah, there is, and I'm sure they got word as well that Valor has scored. And again, going back to once you start hearing what the scores are, and I'm sure that's when Ottawa will start pushing forward a little bit more now, trying to get that result that they need. They need that win if they wanted that second place after 90 minutes today.
Melvin in the white kit with the purple trident trim. Sends it away. A throw-in coming for Christian Greco-Taylor, 19-year-old, who's been a big part in Pacific's under 21 minutes. Over 4,700 minutes played by Pacific's under 21 players. The next best team at Vancouver FC at just over 2,900, so a massive gap. Some of the young players, of course, Emil Gazdoff, the talented keeper, on the bench today, and a bit of a surprise for James Merriman. He has been a big part of those minutes racking up as well. Dominic Samuel pushes this through, and Melvin, who stands at 6'4", reaches down to collect the ball. Still waiting technically for the first shot directed towards target here. Jim, what do you make of the start so far from both these sides?
I know, I'd like to see them just lift the tempo a little bit more and take care of the ball. I mean, you're 18 minutes in and we don't have a shot yet. And especially when the weather's like this now and the pitch is slick, you've got to test the keepers early.
Played back by Kadim Kane. Directed by Samuel. His Pacific players backpedaling on the throw-in coming up. Samuel, 18 appearances now, just under 500 minutes in a limited role for the defender in his 6th CPL season. One back by Sean Young, but briefly. And Garvin Matusila, who has 8 caps for Haiti, including playing recently in a 6-0 win, played 90 minutes in a 6-0 victory over St. Martin. Kalongo forced to come out, take the ball away from Moses Dyer. Dyer, 4 goals since coming over from Vancouver FC in the trade. Pacific has not done a lot of scoring this year, Jimmy. In fact, just 26 goals in the 27 matches.
Yeah, they've struggled.
Under 1 a game.
They've struggled scoring. I mean, look, they get in some great areas. They get into that final third. It's just that final ball, that final pass. And obviously with Dyer coming in, he's helped them up top. But that's been their problem throughout the season. It's just they didn't have that goal scorer who got hot and is going to bag you, 10 to 15 goals in the season.
Another corner kick coming up, so make it 2 in a row for the Hammers. Jensen will prepare himself for the delivery. Ball is in, it's a good one. And headed away just in case by a couple of Pacific FC players, including Dyer, who got the last touch. 3rd straight corner kick, essentially.
It's a terrific ball into the box. I would like to see Jordan Hamilton just gamble in there. Instead, he was just waiting for it outside the group. I mean, it was a great service. And the thing is, too, when you have Kyle Becker that's playing and you got Board just putting that ball in the box from the right side, Kyle Becker whipping it in on the other. They're so dangerous on set plays.
Mikael Venn, the head referee for today's match, having to step in. Borges, another good ball sent away, and we will do the corner kick routine again. This is what happened to Pacific against York United, except the other way around. Last Thursday, had 9 corner kicks in the first 39 minutes of the match. And this is already number 4, I believe. Matusila will wind and drive. Blocked down by a couple of tridents, and it's sent ahead for Young. Perhaps an opportunity to attack with Dada Luke, who settles. Samuel prevents him from going any further. Lamotte. And Yates. There's Dario Zanata, who has 6 goal contributions in 23 matches on the season, 4 goals and 2 helpers. Zanata, one of the main threats, and he will strike this on goal, and it goes through the legs of Ashinoti Janssen, but into the hands of Chris Kalongo.
Found himself in a good position. Turns, starts driving at Johnson, but just couldn't wrap his foot around it enough to that far post. Johnson's been terrific as well this season, hasn't he? Such a good defender. Playing
sturdy, reliable, and on the pitch for 90 minutes in every match coming into this one. And no rest.
No, of course not. That's him. He just loves to play. He wants to play football.
Not surprising. He's the CPL minutes leader. This one is sent into a dangerous area, but over top with a crossbar. First good opportunity for Moses Dyer on the attacking end.
It was a great ball into the box. Good movement from Dyer. Just gets behind. I think it comes off of Jansson's head just at the last second, which throws Dyer off.
Reminder that viewers can watch every match in their entirety free on One Soccer's YouTube channel on this day. The outcome presented by tonybet. Match week 28 in the CPL, the first time in CPL history we have all 8 teams on the pitch at the same time. Some nervous defending from the Tridents as Quintana's there and is able to eventually push the ball away. And you'd like to see a little bit more contribution perhaps from his mates. One back momentarily until Yates steps in, the 24-year-old. Played all 28 CPL matches last year. And this year, this is number 26 of 28. So another reliable option for the Tridents. One back by Forge FC. Hamilton working on a goal and an assist this year. This ball is neatly cut off. And Zanata from Sean Young. Back into the middle with Lamotte and Yates. And Mayor Giguère will settle things down before the referee Michael Van will intervene as Jordan Hamilton on the pitch here in the 25th minute. Some absences for Forge FC today. Alessandro Hojarapur out due to a red card suspension. Nana Mpuma out with a yellow card ban. And then Daniel Parra learning recently that he has been suspended for 3 matches. That will also go into the playoffs. The Mexican fullback has been terrific this year, but that puts him in danger of even playing at all in these CPL playoffs. A punch to the gut on Sam Salter of Atletico Ottawa.
Yeah, it was a silly thing for him to happen. I think he just lost his head, threw a punch, and obviously rightly so, getting punished for it. But you know, those situations, you'd let the team down, because for me, he's been one of the best left backs in the league. He's a fantastic player, and they'll definitely miss him.
Well, Jimmy, 26 minutes later, this rain has not let up. Check the weather forecast yesterday. There was a 100% chance of rain yesterday and today. So the weather folks got this one right. 100% chance of rain. 50 millimeters on the day. So it's a damp one.
They don't get it wrong often, do they, the weather people?
Today there was no doubt. This is a good ball forward, though, into the penalty area towards goal. And that could have been a handball. Michael Van saying no to Moses Dyer and his requests. Some of the Pacific players hoping that went the other way. Robbie Belawu is whistled on the foul. There will be a Pacific FC free kick coming up, and perhaps, Jimmy, a chance to take a look at that last ball towards the penalty area. Adonijah Reed. Set to prepare the delivery. Now hands off to Greco Taylor. Kalongo in his 14th CPL appearance of the season looks on, and it's a ball that is interesting, sent back in and sent away eventually by Kone. So better from Pacific FC, but still nothing to show for some of these set pieces. Dyer. And the exchange with Pierre Lamotte, the ball was jarred free. Kane. This is David Chouanière. Was a surprise starter over Benny Badibanga, who was initially on the team sheet in the starting 11 last week against Atletico Ottawa. Was replaced late by Chouanière, and Badibanga not available for selection today for Bobby Smirniotis. Two shots, one on target for the Tridents. Samuel does well to take the ball away from Yates. Borges. It's a good ball to the outside. Ball towards Jensen, and that is in behind him. And Kunle Dadaluk, who does have good speed, has a step on Samuel. Dadaluk, though, runs into Oluwabi Belawu and now surrenders the ball. Shoulder-to-shoulder contact goes undetected from the head referee. Ashinori Janssen. Play to Chouanière. Tusala. Ball forward, and it is Samuel. Good first step from Samuel. Ball is sent in.
That's what they're trying to do, though. They're trying to isolate Kone, get him the ball to his feet. Loves to take players on.
Ball out the back for a Melvin goal kick. It's been a bit of a nervy start for Pacific FC, or do you just chalk that up to some of the conditions here?
Yeah, it has been a little bit nervy. I mean, look, when there's a lot to play for and the importance of this game, not one player wants to make a mistake, and sometimes you're a little bit hesitant in your play, as opposed to when it's regular season, you just go for it, you don't think twice, but you don't want to be that one individual that makes a mistake on such an important game. And I think they need to just relax, get on the ball, and play the football that they can. Get forward, firm, crisp passes, a little bit more energy.
Chouanière saves the ball and pushes it around. Kone and Kane, and this is Samuel. Chouanière. Tristan Borges leads the CPL in all-time assists at 29. Kyle Becker, his teammate, not far behind at 27. So the two forward players, Borges and Becker, been crowned champions 4 times with the Hammers, 1 and 2. Becker, another player that's not available today for Bobby Smirniotis, as Thomas Meyer-Jaguer sending Adonijah Reed. Reed's ball is into the box. It's perfectly placed. And Zanata has his 5th of the season. And finally, the Tridents have their breakthrough. In the driving rain in the Pacific Northwest, the Tridents have 1 foot into the playoffs.
That all starts with Jaguer. It was a wonderful ball played out to Reed. Reed gets on a ball. You see, he gets his head up. He looks, he knows where Zanata is. Just plays that ball in behind. Falls perfectly for Zanata, who side-footed home. That's what we were waiting for. And I like that with Jaguer. The space in front of his center back, take it, make something happen. He just sprayed it out wide to Reed, who was all by himself. And a great ball whipped in behind.
So Zanata in the 32nd minute breaks the game open. And that is the start that Pacific really were hoping for. All 5 of Zanata's goals have come since September the 7th, including a brace against Vancouver back on the 14th of September. So he has been a welcome addition here to the goal scoring. Assist last week. And the 2-1 win away at York United. And that's a big one. And now, of course, we'll see how this game changes. Of course, Pacific FC, Jimmy, there will be a tendency and an urge to make sure the defending is airtight, but you don't want to go too defensive either, I would imagine.
No, you don't, because then if you go defensive and you're dropping back, you're just inviting pressure, and it's an awful lot of time left in this match to have that pressure on you. You've still got to continue going forward, get on the ball, possess it, play with confidence.
Malik Oulabi Bellewu, the 22-year-old, in his 3rd CPL season, has been a sturdy option for Bobby Smirniotis. Now 22 appearances on the campaign. 10 or so minutes to go before halftime. Other scores right now, we're watching Valor home to Cavalry. Valor leading 1-0 on a 7th-minute goal from Abdul Binate. York United still leading over Halifax 1-0 as well, a Nimick own goal. Still nothing in the 33rd minute between Atletico Ottawa and Vancouver FC, a couple of minutes behind the other matches. Atletico Ottawa needing a win to move into that 2nd spot. That would be the case if Cavalry loses or draws and Atletico Ottawa wins. And of course, the 2nd spot is so important in the playoff format because it's a battle for a chance to be in the North Star Cup final. Forge will play in that 1-2 battle. And of course, waiting to see if it'll be forever rivals Cavalry or a rematch of the 2022 finals. Kalongo misplays the ball. And Moses Dyer thought that that could have been something favorable for him. Goes down rather awkwardly and then picks himself back up. Hamilton works on Quintana. Contact there, and this will be a corner kick as Hamilton will have to dust off some of those rubber pellets there, Jim, in this rain.
It's a good battle with Hamilton and Quintana. Two big guys. Quintana's been very good this year. Solid defender, reads the game well.
Fifth corner kick. Tristan Borges. Hands in the air, set to deliver with a magical left boot. Another good ball in towards the back post, but the Tridents defend well. Samuel rotates to Jensen. Meets with Quintana. Ball stays in the field of play. Quintana is upset, taken down. Samuel. Ball into the middle. Once again cleared away by the Tridents. Goes for a forced throw-in. Jensen with Kone and Oluwabi Bello, excuse me, on that left side. Ashnodi Janssen, a line drive pass. It's collected by Jensen. Karim Kane. Appearance of the season for Kane, but just 64 minutes on the pitch this year. Ball driven in. Once again, it's Quintana. He's everywhere at the moment. Jimmy. Defending far post, near post, and then that flying block does the job there. Forge FC officially lifted the CPL Shield as the regular season winners last weekend. Of course, the top seed heading into the CPL playoffs. Difficult match for the Hammers. You know you're lifting the Shield as the champions of the regular season winners, I should say. And performance on the pitch against Atletico Ottawa was a bit underwhelming.
Yeah, it was. It's always difficult, though. You're holding the trophy.
You say the right things leading up, but mentally it just didn't look like the Forge that we know.
No, they didn't. They didn't. But the thing is with Forge, you know what to expect when they get into playoffs. They'll turn it back on. They're a good side, lots of experience.
Five or so minutes away from halftime. You're watching The Outcome, presented by tonybet, match week 28. It has been a long, grueling season for the 8 Canadian Premier League teams. A lot of travel, of course, 1 to 2 matches per week in the CPL season. Of course, the Canadian Championship in there as well. And they all play for this, a spot to be in the big dance. And here's how it started back in the 32nd minute with that ball from Mayor Giguère.
Yeah, it's a perfect weighted pass from Giguère just into the path of Reed. Reed gets his head up and just whips it across the back for the Zanat on the far post. But again, you can see when Giguère was coming up the pitch, all the Forge players started coming one side, left it open for Reed, which allowed them to get right up the pitch and get into a dangerous area.
So that man's goal, Dario Zanata, his 5th of the CPL campaign. Former Canadian Youth International a couple of years ago. And there is going to be a change here with Pierre Lamotte going off the pitch and then right onto the bench.
Yeah, he picked up an injury. Yeah. You can see in his face, he was struggling a little bit and walked off. And I mean, look, you know what Lamotte's like. He's a tough little player. He just felt something wasn't right, had to come off. And in these games, every player wants to play. Last thing you want to do is end up coming off the pitch.
So the former Halifax Wanderer, Lamotte, is out of the game at the moment. Chouanier taken by surprise with that ball. His pass to Tristan Borges is off the mark, and it is a first half substitution for James Merriman, bringing in Marco Dominguez, who recently played for Guatemala on international duty. His 10th appearance of the season, joining the Tridents midway through, made his debut on the 14th of July. It's been a regular, close to 700 minutes in the 9 matches down the stretch in this regular season. This is Samuel. Forge awarded a throw-in. Zanata in the 32nd minute from Reed on a beautiful pass that was tipped off of one of the Forge defenders, but ever so slightly, and the ball got to Zanata, and he made no mistake beating Chris Kalongo. Started the year as the Forge FC starter, playing in the Champions Cup. Also played in 5 of the 6 Canadian Championship games as well. Forge coming oh so close again to beating Toronto FC on the campaign. Greco Taylor. Pacific slowly making its way up the pitch. A few minutes to go before halftime. You have an impression, Jimmy, on what the message might be for both these sides at the break here? Besides maybe grab a towel and dry off. Yeah, ball's into the middle, and Kalongo.
Bobby's going to expect a lot more from his side. For me right now, when you're watching the way that they're playing, they're kind of cruising. It's not the standard that you normally see Forge playing. Obviously, yeah, they're missing some players. They're missing one of their leaders, and Kyle Becker in the middle of the park. And obviously gets the rhythm and the tempo in the match. And then Pacific, I mean, look, James Merriman's going to be happy. He's 1-0 up going into halftime. Obviously, he's going to want a little bit more out of his team as well in that second half. But the thing is, too, with Pacific, I mean, it's a shame that the weather is the way it is, because the importance of this match, I'm sure they would have quite a few more fans if the weather was better.
Ball given away by Kalongo. The goal scorer, Zanata, looks to try and seize this opportunity. Ball is into the middle. Once again, misplayed, and Reed goes down. Mikael Van thought about a penalty there. A half gesture to the spot as Ajanaya Reed, after a couple of rather sloppy giveaways here.
Yeah, it just falls in between the two Forge players, and Reed does ever so well, just trying to get in there and nick it. Felt there was contact from the keeper, but not enough in it for me.
Adonijah Reed sees 3 minutes come up on the stoppage time. It's presented by Burnbrae Farms. Borges. Forge FC still looks for its first shot on target. Didn't have any shots on target last weekend at home, as a yellow card is going to come out here for the first time today in this match. As Kane, the guilty party.
Yeah, Gates does well here, just gets it out of his feet. Kane just late in the challenge.
So second yellow card of the season for the 19-year-old from Terrebonne, Quebec. Forge FC has an expected goal total right now of 0.02, Jimmy. No, expected goals is not everything. Gives you a bit of an idea, though, how much traffic's been around Sean Melvin, though.
Yeah, it hasn't been much. He hasn't been really tested, has he?
Kane trying to backtrack. Does well, too. Take the ball away, and Pacific FC does a good job winning it back. Be a free kick here for the Tridents. First half stoppage time. Hear the rain just driving down. Poor microphones out there just taking a beating. Of course, our hard-working technical crew as well. It's not just the players or the fans as that ball is off of the top netting. It was well played there by Pacific off of that free kick.
It's a good ball into the box. It was whipped in. You can see Quintana is just coming back, just trying to get something on it, glance it on target. Just drops over the crossbar.
Nearing the end of the first half. And that is 45 minutes in the books. Pacific FC needing a victory to guarantee a playoff spot. Well, they're halfway there as Zanata in the 32nd minute off of a neat pass from Adonijah Reed, capitalizing Pacific FC. The battle is half done, but of course, 45 minutes remain on a rainy day in Langford, BC. You're watching The Outcome, presented by tonybet, with Pacific FC ahead, 1-0.
Gatorade, with electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat, carbs to help fuel your working muscles, and fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
Hey, let's go somewhere beachy. I don't like sand. What? What about Cancun sand? It's so soft. Or maybe Caribbean white sand. Sure. Ooh, Costa Rican sand. It's got dolphins.
Costa Rica, then?
Yeah, Costa Rica.
Good choice.
It was all him.
With over 50 sunny destinations to choose from, we have a flight for that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
This one is for you.
Always the earliest holiday shopper.
It's Holly. Uh-oh.
You know who's gonna win?
Holly.
Carol.
What?
Carol.
No, Holly.
Get out of here.
Canadian soccer fans, we're different. We cheer on the Reds while cheering out our motherlands and each other's lands. Soccer is in our hearts. Our roots are on display. Not to divide, but to unite. Because to us, soccer's more than just a game. It's who we are. From coast to coast to coast, it connects us all. Cheers to us. Cheers to the game.
tonybet, bet. tonybet, get treated like a VIP. Bet on live games with odds on all sorts of sports. That's what you get when you bet with tonybet, bet.
A rainy afternoon on Vancouver Island. Look at Starlight Stadium in Langford, just outside of Victoria. It's 1-0 for the home side. A goal from Dario Zanetta in the 32nd minute has the Tridents ahead of the CPL Shield winners Forge FC. Halfway through, with Jimmy Brennan, former York United manager and Canadian national team player. Here are some of the highlights, and yeah, you can't miss it. It's a rainy one today. Up to 50 millimeters of rain expected on the day. Here's some of the chances early on, and it's Zanetta who had a chance midway through the first half, and Kalongo had his first save.
Yeah, you see what Zanetta's trying to do. He just wants to come inside and wrap his foot around it into that far post, but didn't hit it the way they want to, and Janssen obviously gets a block in.
Lamotte, who had to leave the match late in the first half. This is a cross that ticks off of Jensen. And then over the bar from Dyer. And this is a great angle of the goal with Mayer Jaguar. The vision, seeing the space from Reed. Reed and Zanetta do the rest.
Yeah, I like that when a center back wants to take the space that's in front of him, that's given to him. And he sprays it out wide to Reed. Reed gets his head up. Bello is dropped off, which allows him to wrap it around the back line into the path of Zanetta, who sidefoots it home. Kalongo tries to get across, but just couldn't get anything on it.
Saw the reaction from the manager, James Merriman, who is trying to be back in the playoffs once again. Here's a look at the stats for our first half. 4 shots, 2 on target for Pacific, and we mentioned just not a lot of traffic around Sean Melvin, just the 1 attempt and not on target. Did have 5 corner kicks, the Hammers did, but again, relatively quiet in terms of offensive traffic on this rainy afternoon on Vancouver Island. But of course, all that can change. Pacific FC, they've done the job so far. They need a 3-point afternoon to make sure they're in the playoffs. A draw or a loss, they will be scoreboard watching, and this is how it plays out right now. Live table, Valor on 31 points, currently leading at halftime over Cavalry. That's at Princess Auto Stadium in Winnipeg. Vancouver and Ottawa locked in a goalless draw. That one also at halftime. York United firmly into that number 4 spot. They have a 1-0 lead over the Halifax Wanderers, who are the only side coming in to this final day of the regular season eliminated from postseason contention. Forge FC are the winners, but of course hoping to avoid a second straight setback before going into the 1-2 game. And we will see how the rest of the afternoon goes. It was a big day for a former Forge FC player, Kwesi Poku, making his international debut this past week.
Obviously, it's been really good so far. It's been a dream to get the call-up. I think it's something that every kid dreams of, and I'm just really proud to be here. I'm soaking everything in, and I'm learning a lot. Canada is my home. I'm happy to be back as I'm living in Belgium now, and I feel at home with the guys. Everybody was really warm and they're welcoming, and on and off the field, everything has been great. I think this whole year itself has been really crazy for me and really fast. I haven't really got time to sit down and really think about, all the achievements that have happened for me this year. But yeah, looking back on it, it's been a really crazy year. I'm still settling in. It's a bit different. Obviously the culture, just everything on the field, off the field. It's been a bit of time to get used to it, but I'm getting there. I feel really comfortable. I feel like I joined a team that directly had plans for me to be an important player right away, and that's exactly what I wanted. I traveled overseas not to sit on the bench, but to be on a team that I could play for, to be on a team that had plans for me and a team that I could make an impact for right away. And I feel like I found that, and I'm really enjoying my football right now. Yeah, just soaking in everything, learning, seeing their habits, seeing how they train and what they work on to get to the highest level. Obviously, that's something I want to reach as well, so kind of just mimicking what they do and just taking advice from them has been really important for me, and I'm going to take it wherever I go. I think that comes from just maybe watching football, growing up as an attacker, always looking up to strikers growing up. I never really looked up to anyone in the back line growing up. It was always strikers, always forwards. I always wanted to be like them. Movement is the most important thing because it sets you up for your goals, right? If you don't move, you won't get a good shot, right? So it's about that counter movement that gives you that split second to be able to take the best shot possible, and that's what I like to focus on when I'm making my runs. I think the most important thing when you are in a goal-scoring area is to do the first thing that comes to your mind. When you think about, oh, should I go here or should I go near post, far post, whatever it may be, that's when you mess up, right? You have to think with your instinct, and you have to just go with that. The CPL helped me in every way. I think it added a lot of professionalism to my game. Obviously, previously, before I joined the CPL, I wasn't in a professional environment or a consistent professional environment. And just having that professionalism, that men's football is very important for people who are young. Being exposed to what it's like to, when you win, there's a lot at stake. So it just gave me a lot of responsibility early on, and it really helped me with just the tactical side, professional side, on the field, off the field. So the CPL has just really been great for me.
In for Kwesi Poku, and that's an excellent finish. Kwesi Poku, who's no longer a new number 9, he's one of the best number 9s in the Canadian Premier League.
I didn't have time to waste it all going to Forge. I think that winning was in the identity of Forge. So right away, I kind of picked up on that we're in this league to win it. I had to keep my standard at a high level every day, which, like I said, helped me. It was a surprise for a lot of people, but it wasn't a surprise for me. I know that Coach Bobby was aware of my abilities in front of goal as he sees it in training every day. So when our strikers got hurt and the option was to put me at striker, I wasn't very surprised. I was ready, I was focused, and it worked out and got me here today. So.
Don't miss the Canadian Premier League final, Saturday, November the 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern, live on CBC.
Oh, Carol! Always the earliest holiday shopper.
It's Holly. Uh-oh.
You know who's gonna win?
Holly.
Carol.
What?
Carol.
No, Holly.
Get out of here.
At CIBC, we know that nothing feeds ambition like momentum. So no matter what your goals are, from starting a business to sending money back home, a conversation with us about your goals can set everything in motion. And once that ball of possibilities gets rolling, watch out, world.
I wanna run back to you. All I wanna do is run back to you and make my dreams come true. The only thing I ever do is run right back to you.
When the stakes are high, only the TELUS 5G network delivers.
Degree 72-hour nonstop protection. antiperspirant with Motion Sense. Tested to the limit. Degree. Keeps working when others stop.
What makes a Burnbrae egg a Burnbrae egg? For generations, we've put more goodness in, so you get a whole lot more out of every single delicious egg. A lot goes into a little at Burnbrae Farms.
This ultimate mouth-watering moment is brought to you by the big, bold, ultimate taste of Ultimate Chicken Hot Dogs, only from Maple Lodge Farms.
All set for the second half from Starlight Stadium on Vancouver Island. This is the outcome presented by tonybet. All 4 matches being played simultaneously, all 8 Canadian Premier League teams in action. Some good weather in Eastern Canada, not the same. It's mostly the fans that are ducking for cover on this day. Pacific, though, needing 3 points to guarantee itself a playoff spot. And so far, that man has done the job. Zanata scoring his 5th goal of the season. Well, Chouanière and the Hammers from Forge FC, who have not had a shot on target in its last 2 games, have a bit more pep here in the second half. And speaking of that second half, it is now underway with the ball at the feet of Sean Melvin, who is the starter today for James Merriman, of course, the starter of choice after Gazdov was suspended in the last match and left very early due to a red card in the previous fixture, alongside former Canadian national team member and York United manager Jimmy Brennan. Matt Cullen on the call. It's an exciting day for the league, and we'll see how it all plays out, as this is where things can get really dramatic here. If the scorelines start to change, positions start to move in the table, strategies change, it could be fun here, Jim. It could be a lot of fun.
No, it isn't. I love that the league did that. All the games are played at the same time. This next 45 minutes, it's going to be very difficult for a lot of teams that are fighting for these positions. I mean, with Pacific now, they've got to manage this 45 minutes now. They don't want to drop off and invite Forge on them. They've got to continue going forward, being a little bit aggressive in their play.
One back, and it's Zanata again. He has some help with Dyer. Zanata into the penalty area. And it's defended well by Matusala. Matusala has some trouble clearing, however. And it comes to the hands of Kalongo. He made 1 save on 2 targeted shots in the first 45 minutes. Kalongo has been in the net for just 1 of the past 10 matches. The CPL for Bobby Smirniotis. A bit of tension on the pitch there after that exchange. This ball goes for a Pacific throw-in on the far side. Reminder, you can watch every match on this day for free on One Soccer's YouTube channel. Match week 28. Of course, our match important for Pacific. 3 points, they are in the playoffs. Anything less, well, that will certainly be up for grabs. Valor FC leading Cavalry 1-0 at halftime. Nothing between Atletico Ottawa and Vancouver FC, and that's a big one as well. As Atletico Ottawa, the table is set. This ball is in, it's over the head of Dyer, and then mishit. Oh, what a missed opportunity. Zanata had all sorts of time and just couldn't connect.
Not sure how he missed that. Looks like he took his eye off the ball. Didn't connect it the way he should have, but that was another great opportunity.
This is Kone. Kone's attempt, that's the first shot on target. And off that 6'3" frame, that was a rocket.
Yeah, he connected well. Melvin did the right thing, just coming across, narrowing down the angle. It's a quick release from Kone.
Amadou Kone his 5th start of the season and 17th appearance. On a U Sports contract, part of the Carleton Ravens in the nation's capital. Melvin called into action for the first time. Mayor Giguère sends it away. This is Samuel. Also has a little trouble with the reception. And on the second wave of this attack, Ashley Nodi Janssen eventually gives it away to Kunle Dadaluk. Gives the ball away to Chouanière. Forge do look a little more lively here, Jimmy.
They do. They've started off well. Got some energy in them.
Forge has dominated this rivalry over the years with 14 wins compared to Pacific's 4, 3 of them a draw. And there are 5 wins, a draw, and 3 losses away at Pacific. So this is a place where they feel a lot of comfort, and Bobby Smirnior has talked about that as well. He says, we like this trip. We like coming out here. We like breathing the air. We feel good about our chances anytime we step foot into Starlight Stadium. Well, down a goal here in the driving rain. Pacific hoping to qualify for the playoffs for the 5th straight season. It's been a wild season with certainly more than a few ups and downs. But have not been able to beat Forge in their last 4 home matches. 2 draws, 2 losses. So again, playing into that context where Forge, they enjoyed this trip. That statistic goes back to the 2022 CPL season. Of course, Pacific scored a big win at Tim Hortons Field on the 2021 North Star Cup final. Also some nasty weather on that day, in the form of freezing rain. The only team to knock off Forge FC in the championship match. What will it be this year, Jim? So many good sides, storylines. Of course, Forge FC have to be the odds-on favorite with the season that they've had, especially down the stretch. They've looked great, apart from, I guess, last weekend and today.
Like what I said before, I mean, they are experienced side. You know what you're going to get from Forge when it comes to playoff time. They'll be ready. But a lot of the other squads have also had a lot of quality. They'll be hungry for a championship.
Ball's through to Dyer. Young is in the middle. Small touch from Moses Dyer. Pacific would love a bit of breathing room here. The second goal could go a long way in making sure that the Tridents are through. And this could be an opportunity. Although Yates will stutter step and it knocks him off the ball. Looking at Samuel again. Just the one change in the match. Marco Dominguez coming in for Pierre Lamotte, who left due to an apparent injury. Chouanière and Jensen link up in the midfield area. Amadou Kone looks at Dadaluk towards the middle and back to Tusra and Oluwabi Belawu. He moves to Kone again. Kone just loses the ball and then fouls Reed, who has an assist for his 2nd helper on the year, back in the 32nd minute. So far, there has not been any movement on the CPL table yet. With the current results so far, all matches now in the 54th and 53rd minutes. Keeping a close eye on all of those. This ball is in the middle, and Dyer. There's been some opportunity for Pacific, and another mishit, Jim.
Yeah, it was a good ball across. You can see Dyer's just trying to make contact with a guy on a target, but I think he could have maybe laid it off for Yates, who was in a better position.
If this stands, it will be Pacific heading to the metropolis of North York, just outside of Toronto, for the 4-5 battle. That will be midweek, Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time at York Lions Stadium. Number 1 seed of Forge FC will host the number 2 seed. That could be either Cavalry or Atletico Ottawa. The game on Sunday afternoon, that's 4 p.m. Pacific. CPL final will be on November the 9th. That will be live on CBC. Of course, available in French and in English on One Soccer. The most important matches still to come as we finish this 2024 campaign. 10 minutes into the second half. Jimmy, your thoughts so far? Do you like the way this is going for Pacific? Do you see the steady approach paying off here in the long run?
Yeah, it's been all right at times, especially when Pacific get forward. You know, they've had a couple of opportunities but didn't finish on them. And again, they're driving forward, and I like that. As opposed to just sitting back and defending the lead. I think they do have to keep going forward.
Zanata's ball off the outside of his foot was easily intercepted. This is Tristan Borges. He's had another big year, 8 goals, 6 assists, I should say. This is Jensen. He's got a drive, and it's partially deflected. Melvin going to ground early, and that could have been dangerous.
That's what you expect from Jensen, taking the space, driving forward. Why not have a go, especially when the pitch is really slick?
Yeah, that crackling you hear is the rain that continues to drive down. Big day on the island and in the province of BC. We don't often wade into the political game, Jimmy, but it's election day in BC today as well. So Pacific's got a big date. So do the voters. Jensen plays back to Hamilton. Kane playing on a yellow card, pushes the ball to the right, and that's where David Chouanière, the veteran attacker and brother to national team player Mathieu Chouanière, who's really carved out a nice role for himself in the Canadian midfield. Ismail Coney hasn't been available for the last 2 windows. This is another corner kick, the 6th of the match, first of the second half for Forge FC. Corner goes short, comes back to Samuel. Samuel's ball's into the penalty area, and that was close. Second opportunity, Chouanière misreads the pass, and Sean Young is able to immediately take that out of the way. Could have been offside there, Jimmy, as well. That was a dangerous scenario there off that corner kick. Another ball is in, another ball towards Melvin, and the big keeper has no trouble with that.
That was a terrific ball from Samuel. Dominic Samuel just plays it. Perfect ball into the box, and Jordan Hamilton has to score that. He has to finish it.
Around the league, we have an update from Winnipeg. Tobias Vorshevsky, who has been on a real heater when it comes to goal scoring. Had a long drought, but he scores in the 56th minute. It's Valor 1, Cavalry 1, an hour gone by. A draw would not be enough for Valor FC to make the postseason. They need a win and they need help. So a setback for Felipe Dos Santos and his side, and as of now, Cavalry would be okay picking up a point, but that would mean Atletico Ottawa cannot win. They do leave the door open for Carlos Gonzalez and Atletico Ottawa to take the second spot if Atletico Ottawa is able to beat Vancouver FC. It's 0-0 in the 56th minute as we speak. 2 points separate Cavalry and Atletico Ottawa. But the tiebreaker would go to Atletico Ottawa, as the first one is wins. Both teams on 11 wins right now. So if Atletico Ottawa reaches 12 and the correct number of points, they would be through to the 1-2 game. Lots to be determined in the next half an hour. It is just coming down still at Starlight Stadium. Sent away though by Samuel. And he has Chouanière and a ball forward to Jordan Hamilton. Hamilton's chip pass, looking for Amadou Kone. Kone wins that battle with Kunle Dadaluc, trying to get through 3 defenders. There will be a free kick coming up, and a yellow card will come out here for Reed. Kone almost found his way through it past 3.
Yeah, he's got quick feet, just gets through. Adonijah Reed just sticks his leg out, trying to win the ball. Takes down Kone. It's a dangerous position as well.
Reed, in his 3rd yellow card of the season, of course, did pick up the big assist. Looks like there is some activity on the Pacific touchline. With Rion Moore, who had a key brace last weekend. This is a corner, or a set piece, a free kick from Borges that is easily dealt with. Chouanière, Dyer comes in with an aggressive challenge, wins the ball back. And now Pacific moving forward. Zanata's pass intercepted. Countered by Forge FC, who will try and regroup. Hamilton is in the middle, and he has Jensen, the 25-year-old Jensen, to Kone. Kone on Dadaluc again. Reed now tucking in behind. He's got to be a bit more careful this time. This time it's intercepted by Sean Young, and the big strides from Young. Finally cut off by Oluwabi Bellewu, who did well with that. Kone chased by Dominguez. And it looks like we will have the first change of the second half. And it is the 28-year-old Rion Moore, international from Trinidad and Tobago, set to come in for Adonijah Reed, who had a strong first half, and the goal contribution right now, as it stands, putting his team into the playoffs.
Yeah, he was lively. Played a great ball in behind for Zanata. I think now with just James Merriman, he's just trying to get some fresh legs on. Get Rion Moore to start chasing down the back line, put pressure on the Forge defenders.
Rion Moore with goals in the 82nd and 88th minute to shock Benjamin Mora and York United. Looks like Forge will also be going to the bench here as well. Taron Campbell set to check back in. Haven't seen Campbell on the pitch in quite some time. Orlandis Benitez is also set to come into the match as well. Taron Campbell, the league's all-time leading goal scorer with 39 goals. Former Pacific player as well. So a double change comes from Bobby Smirdiotis. Bit of a new look. Bringing in Campbell for just his 7th appearance of the season. his first since August the 23rd. He's had a very start and stop campaign. This is the ball through to Dyer. Dyer with a touch. Kalongo makes the save. And Garvin Metusala is able to collect the rebound. Kane is in some trouble. Rayon Moore, just a tad too aggressive, Jimmy. Quickly ahead in the 64th minute. Another free kick is on its way. This will be Jensen surveying the situation. Pacific 1, Forge 0. Jensen, a high ball back post, but that's well out of reach. Goes for power, doesn't he, Jensen?
Yeah, he does. Just gets under it. He's got to get his body over it a little bit more to whip it in. You see what he was trying to do. He just wanted to hit that back post area.
So Melvin sends it away. He's been a little bit busier in this second half. He's had to make a few more saves after a quiet first half. Referee plays advantage for Dominguez, and the pass to Dyer. On the stretch, he loses his balance. Ball for Taron Campbell, who scored in the Champions Cup against Chivas back in February. That's how Forge FC began its season, playing a two-legged first-round tie against Mexican side Chivas, a 3-1 and 2-1 loss. For the reigning North Star Cup champions. Campbell hasn't seen much of the pitch since then and hasn't scored. Movement as well on the Atlantic coast as the Wanderers, who had a couple of goals called back in the first half due to offside. Massimo Ferrin from Clement Bahia in the 63rd minute have the Wanderers level with York United at 1 goal apiece. So Jimmy, 3 out of the 4 matches now have a goal. The one that's missing is Atletico Ottawa and Vancouver FC. And Atletico, the table is set for them to be in that second position and to forget maybe some of the bad vibes or some of the bad memories that have haunted the team over the past couple of weeks. With Cavalry and Valor right now in the 68th minute at 1 goal apiece. Dyer has been very active in this second half. He's moving in towards Kalongo, tried the little back heel, and Samuel said none of that.
Yeah, it was great defending from Dominic Samuel. His body position was perfect, just pushing Dyer out wide, away from goal.
Yates and Zanata lead in the middle. Dominguez there as well. Forge FC has not dropped 2 straight CPL regular season games since September 30th and October the 7th of last year. Dada Luke into the middle. Ball was there for Rayon Moore, who just couldn't corral it in a position to strike. Young and Marco Dominguez team up as another ball for Pacific comes in. Dyer is there, and Moses Dyer. How many big opportunities have there been on this day? And that look says it all.
great ball from Zanata. And Dyer here, he's got to make contact with it. Just glances off his forehead. Another great chance for Pacific. Just hope these chances that they had don't come back and haunt them.
Well, football has a cruel way of doing that sometimes. Ball forward for Yates, and Yates is pushed down. That will be a Pacific FC free kick in the 69th minute. Good opportunity here. Interesting spot. Greco-Taylor puts the ball down. 19-year-old delivers in. Good ball, and it's fought off by Kalongo. A very awkward-looking save, but Jimmy, it does the job.
Great ball whipped into the box. Bounces just in front of the keeper, but for me, the Pacific players that are running in, you've got to get a touch on that.
Opportunity to put this ball in. Madukone, the closest there. One of the first for former Cuban international. There's a long drive, and Melvin goes to ground, taking no chances with another save.
Just seems like Ford really hasn't got going this match, have they? They've had a couple of sloppy little giveaways, haven't created too much. There you can see Ford just going on his own, thinking, I'm gonna have a pop here, try to make something happen.
Second half, it's been 4 attempts and 4 shots on target. So have been a few more chances, but it was a quiet first half. And right now the goal from Zanata in the 32nd minute still stands up as the goal that puts Pacific into the postseason for the for the 5th time in a row, 5th year in a row. Side that struggled to score throughout the year, but defensively has been solid. 32 goals conceded after 27 matches. That's 4th best, so midway in the CPL. Ball that flicks off a defender. Oluwabi Belawu takes a look at Yates. Yates takes the ball off him and finds Dadaluk. Kunle Dadaluk unable to get past Jensen. And Dadaluk is too aggressive according to referee Mikael Venn.
Just using his body well.
He felt something.
Yeah, you just get a little bit of contact. Is it soft? Yeah, of course it is soft, but when you're defending like that, you just want a little bit of contact, go down. Once Dadaluk's hands come up, 9 times out of 10, the ref's gonna blow it.
Reminder, if this score stands and this situation stands, it will be Pacific FC heading to North York in the single elimination 4-5 seeded match. Winner moves on, loser is out. There's an opportunity and a big block. It's Thomas Meyer-Jaguer. Looks like he's coming up gasping for air.
Yeah.
So in the pouring rain, looks like the wind got knocked out of him with that block.
That's why you do all those sit-ups in preseason. Keep those muscles strong. That's a defender, though. Just throwing his body on the line, took it right in the gut.
We're different. We cheer on the Reds while cheering out our motherlands and each other's lands. Cheers to us. Cheers to the game.
Big opportunity for Dyer, looking for Rayon Moore. Forge perhaps fortunate there that didn't end up behind Kalongo in the back of the net. Sliding tackle comes from Young. Oluwabi Belawu. Ball through to Jensen. Jensen pushes it on. Quintana comes across and takes that away from Taron Campbell. Campbell, a three-time CPL champion. Played here on Vancouver Island in the 2021 season. Of course, that's the year that Pacific FC won the North Star Cup. And then did it back-to-back with the Hammers. Greco Taylor, just over a quarter of an hour to go. And the outcome presented by tonybet. Reminder, you can head to OneSoccer's main platform for post-game coverage. Summary of the day on match night. Of course, talking about today, the outcome presented by tonybet, the CPL playoffs. Big news, of course, with Toronto FC falling out of the MLS playoffs. What happens next there? And, of course, the Canadian national team with the women's team in action against the reigning World Cup champions in Spain. Coming up across OneSoccer on Friday. And then the men's national team, of course, getting set for Nations League quarterfinal later on next month. So after 75 minutes, Kone, his afternoon is done. Sebastian Castello on the bench today has been relatively rarely used as well by Bobby Smirniotis this year. Just his second appearance of the season for Castello. Played 27 minutes on the year. That's it. So Bobby Smirniotis really digging into the depth of the lineup for this match. Of course, thinking health has got to be the priority heading into the what they hope is the two biggest matches of the season. Of course, the 1-2 battle, Jimmy, and then they could win that. It's off to the final again, hosting the final too.
Yeah, look, I think with Bobby in the squad right now, he's got a run out from a few players and got some players off the bench, give them a few minutes as well. And like I said before, look, obviously they want the 3 points, they want to win, but I think one of the most important things is you get all your players out of this match healthy, and then you focus on that next match that you have.
Mayor Jaguar pounds this away. 79th minute, Valor and Cavalry still locked at 1. A second half Cavalry goal from Warshevsky has the Cavs in a position to pick up a point, which might be enough, but Atletico Ottawa is a goal away from stealing that second position. Goalless in the nation's capital between Atletico Ottawa and Vancouver FC. 77th minute on the East Coast, Halifax, York United, also a goal apiece there. Warshevsky now, by the way, on 11 goals, tying Ruben Del Campo for the Golden Boot lead. So Warshevsky has come to life after a dry stint and also a stint that left him out of the lineup with an injury. 78th minute here. Pacific 1, Forge 0. Reminder, if this is the way it stands, it is a midweek affair at York United. Number 4 seeded York hosting the opening CPL playoff match against the number 5 seed. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific at York Lions Stadium. Another change coming up for Bobby Smirniotis is defender Kevin Cesari set to come in, the Argentine. James Merriman, I should say. It has been a little while since we've seen Joshua Hurd as well. Has been training over the last few weeks. Hasn't played really since the summer due to an injury. So the 29-year-old, born in Cardiff, Wales, but grew up in Victoria on the island, does get a nice hand from the fans here who have braved through some of the wet conditions. Another change as well as Matteo Schiavone is into the match as well for his 14th appearance of the season. It has rained from start to finish. And now our poor main camera here has got the droplets on it here, Jimmy.
It's all right for the players when they're playing and it's raining, but everybody else suffers a little bit.
Ball's in the middle. Jensen goes up for it. Comes back to Costello. It's got a good ball in, and it's just missed. Oh, it's just missed by Ashinoti Janssen. Might have been offside as well, but CPL minutes leader Alexander Ashinoti Janssen finding himself in a rare goal-scoring opportunity.
Yeah, it was a great ball into the box. You can see Janssen coming from deep, but it just ended up offside as the ball went in.
Nine shots, 5 on target for Pacific. 7 attempts, 5 on target for Forge FC, who have showed a bit more life here in the second half. There's Hurd, looking fresh in his first appearance since the summer. Ball is in, and then a very courageous attempt on the volley there, Jim.
Yeah, just a little rush of blood from Young. Looks like Forge is gone with the back 5 now, more or less. Just they want to see these last 10 minutes out. Make sure they're nice and solid.
Campbell gets a boot near the face. And the referee is going to bring this back on the foul. 82nd minute. Of course, the CPL is known for its late drama. Rayon Moore, wearing number 12, flipped the script last Thursday. York United essentially facing a 1-0 situation where they were down. That could have been the end of the season. And Moore's late brace put Pacific in the spot they are today. And if 3 points are collected by Pacific FC, no questions asked, they will be the 5th seed. 83rd minute, Mayer Jaguar off the outside of his boot. Forces Yates to hustle towards the touchline, meets Oluwabi Belawu. Costello able to maintain his balance, back to Oluwabi Belawu. Tusila. Costello, who is hoping for a different placement there, passes the ball, but over the touchline for a Pacific throw-in. Well, big start today for Sean Melvin. And this is the All-State save of the match. Amadou Kone with a strong attempt with that left boot. Melvin surprised for a moment, but does well to fight it off. That is the All-State save of the match. You're in good hands. And I'm in good hands with you here, Jimmy. I'm just wondering if we're going to see some late drama.
It's the thing with the CPL, you never know. You never know. Teams always get chances, especially towards the end of the match. Game kind of tends to open up a little bit.
Right now, even if Forge were to score, Pacific still would go through as the 5th team. Because right now, Vancouver and Valor, 2 teams chasing Pacific, are in draws at the moment. Yellow card comes out. It's to Dominguez in his 10th appearance of the season. Second yellow card shown to Pacific FC today. Yellow cards will be wiped as we head into the CPL playoffs. Kane, of course, didn't appreciate that, Jimmy.
No, he didn't. He's looking to play a little simple pass. Feels Dominguez coming through him.
So, off of the set piece, Mayor Jaguar steps up and heads it away. Schiavone. Ball directed at Taron Campbell. And goes for a Melvin goal kick. We move into the 86th minute now.
Pacific be in no rush taking their throw-ins or goal kicks. See, now they're just pushing everybody up. Gonna manage these next 5-6 minutes.
We do have an update from the Wanderers grounds. Thiago Coimbra 82nd minute goal has the Wanderers ahead of York United 2-1. So the Wanderers hoping to send the fans home on the last match day of the season. There will be no playoffs in Halifax. Passionate fan base. Love when that stadium is full.
Yeah, they do have
great atmosphere.
Great fans, good atmosphere.
Otherwise, no changes from the other 2 matches that we are watching. 88th minute, Valor and Cavalry tied at 1. And in the 85th minute, Atletico Ottawa has an opportunity to finish in 2nd, but goalless right now with the Eagles from Vancouver FC. Oluwabi Belawu is knocked down by Rayon Moore and scrambles around. So on the restart, it is Samuel. He's played the ball for a second, finally sends it out wide. Ball into the penalty area. Once again, it's Mayor Jaguar. The scissor kick, Kane a strike, and it's an attempt at goal, and Melvin has got the save after a juggle. Another long attempt from Forge. They have put up a few shots on target, but in terms of big scoring chances,
no, they really haven't created too much in that final third. Just their runs, movements, the balls. Really struggled today.
Should be a corner kick. Indeed it is. 8th corner kick of the match. Forge FC has led that category 8-2 throughout the day. Reminder, you can head to One Soccer's main platform for post-game coverage. A summary of the day on match night. Of course, today the outcome presented by tonybet, the playoffs, Canadian national teams, and Toronto FC in that situation, all on the docket. Here's the 8th corner kick. It's a good one. Sent away again by Pacific. Not far away from the goal line. Dadaluke screams over, but Schiavone takes the ball, at least momentarily. Finally booted away by the Tridents. Kalongo well out of the penalty area, realizing just a couple of minutes. That's what's left. And at the moment, looking like 3 minutes of time will be added on. Ball is into the hands of Melvin.
So in the last few minutes, Pacific players have got to get close to the Forge wide players and not allow that ball coming into the box.
An update from Winnipeg. It's Cavalry 2, Valor 1. Warshevsky on the brace, a penalty kick that he converts. And that is now the new Golden Boot leader, putting him ahead of Ruben Del Campo, who's led for the majority of the season. Warshevsky has 2 on the day. That gives him 12 goals. And no questions asked if Cavalry wins. Right now they're in stoppage time in the 91st minute. Cavalry is the second seed, and we will have the pleasure of viewing a Forge FC Cavalry 1-2 battle for a spot in the final. That was the North Star Cup final last year, of course, where Cavalry were the most successful team in the regular season. Went ahead on an Ali Musi goal in extra time, Jimmy, before Benny Badibanga and an Olympico goal from Tristan Borges spoiled the night for Tommy Wheeldon Jr. What a night that was.
Yeah, it was a fantastic night. It's always a good match when those two teams play each other. Very competitive. It does get a little bit heated. And for a neutral fan, it's a great game to watch.
Added time brought to you by Burn Bray Farms. 3 minutes added on. The goal from Zanata in the 32nd minute right now. That's the goal that stands. Pacific would head to York United for a Wednesday night affair. Always fun when it's essentially sudden death football. Win, you move on, and lose, and the long season comes to an end. And if the standings stand the way they are right now, Atletico Ottawa would host the 3rd place game, so essentially the winner of the 4th and 5th matchup. They would move on and play at TD Place. That would also be on Saturday. Well, the fans so far have been rewarded despite the difficult weather conditions. Sent away by the Tridents. With all the ups and downs, James Merriman and his side know that one of the goals coming into the season is very close to being checked off. You start, of course, the season, Jimmy, with the goal of lifting the North Star Cup at the end of the year, but got to make the playoffs first. That's step one.
That is. It's a long season. It was very competitive this year. And that is the goal, is to get into playoffs. And then you know what it's like. Anything can happen.
Now Dominguez is down. He falls awkwardly there right in front of a couple of Forge players, including Kadim Kane. Remember, Kane took the kind of side elbow to the face on the yellow card. Mikael Venn is gesturing for the medical team to hustle onto the pitch. Wind and this kind of rain really makes for a chilly affair.
You always have to laugh, though, when a referee starts calling for the stretcher. Players seem to get up a lot quicker.
Well, that's the reaction there from Dominguez, who came into this match as a second-half substitute. Zanata's goal, 32nd minute. Right now, set to put Pacific through. Not done yet. No free kick. Rayon Moore jumps gleefully onto the ball, but eventually tracked down by four Forge FC players, and then the foul given. And a Forge free kick coming up. All games now in stoppage time. The outcome presented by tonybet. It's been fun. That ball did touch the hand of Kadim Kane. So with the injury there to Dominguez, a little bit of extra time added on, but can't be long now. Melvin has done the job, handed the starter's role today. He's made 6 saves. And realizing this might be it. And that is it. Full time in the driving rain in Langford, BC. Pacific passes the test. And they will head to York United on Wednesday as the number 5 seed. They defeat Forge FC 1-0. Zanata's goal in the 32nd minute does the job. And Pacific into the playoffs for the 5th straight year. The outcome presented by tonybet. Let's go to our moment of the match presented by Volkswagen. We have a clear winner on this one here, Jimmy. It's the pass from Reed finding Zanata, the only goal of the match today.
Yeah, it was a great finish. Terrific ball from Reed just behind the back line. Zanata just side putting it home.
His 5th goal of the season, it is enough to put Pacific FC back into the playoffs for the 5th consecutive year. A match that grinded along in the pouring rain. Pacific, though, will be warmed by the fact that they have a win, their first win in now 5 attempts at Starlight Stadium against Forge FC. And it sets up a really intriguing affair on Wednesday evening. All right, here are the final stats. Forge, Jimmy, did come to life, as we mentioned, in the second half, certainly in terms of possession, shots, the 8 corner kicks, a lot of fouls as well. A bit of a chippy affair, 31 total fouls between the two sides, but the big goal enough today for Pacific. And then Forge will have to regroup and prepare for the 1-2 battle. Looks like it's going to be a date with Cavalry.
Yeah, it's a big match. I think everybody's looking forward to this one now with Cavalry and Forge playing against one another. We know what those games are like.
We do have full time around the league. Of course, all 4 games being played simultaneously. That's all part of the fun. So this is the table. Forge FC, 2 straight losses to end the season. They do win, of course, the CPL Shield. That was already predetermined. Cavalry does make it look a little bit closer in terms of the points with the victory today in Winnipeg over Valor FC. It's heartbreak for Valor, who in fact end up at the bottom of the table after Halifax wins today over York United. Vancouver and Atletico Ottawa draw, so Atletico Ottawa in the 3rd position. York finishes in 4th. And then there is Pacific FC. It was tight, but they do fend off the bottom 3 challengers, Halifax, Vancouver, and Valor, by a total of 4 points in the end. This was fun. This is a fun day, lots of moving parts. Nice to see Joshua Hurd back on the pitch. Often wears the captain's armband. Difficult to watch from the sidelines and the touchline, dealing with an injury, but looks like he'll be ready to go for the biggest games of the season. All right, let's head down to the pitch with KJ.
With the performer of the match, Thomas Mears-Juguet, the skipper's kind of performance. You're used to playing in the postseason every year with this team. Yeah. You've done it again. How does it feel?
No, it feels great. It feels great. I think it's something that it was it was mandatory for a club. We had to, and I think everyone did the work. It was great, and I feel like it was great. It's a great feeling.
In the end, you didn't need the win. You got the win. How big of a performance was it? And Dario Zanata coming up huge again.
I think it's a statement that we played the champions. Of course, they didn't have nothing to play for, but we did a big performance. We see defensively we didn't concede. We're very strong. So that's a big statement coming off the playoffs. So other team have to watch out for us because we're coming.
You are coming. You've also scored the most goals in the CPL since the start of September. How confident are you, group, heading into Wednesday's match at York?
Very confident. Very confident. It's going to be a tough game, we know. It's a tough place to play, but last week we went there, we won 2-1, so we're going to do the same again.
Finally, Thomas, in front of these fans, they're used to playoff football. To do that again for them must be special.
It's very special. I'm very sad that we can't have a home game, but yeah, that's our consequences because we had a tough part in the season at one point, but I'm happy that they're able to enjoy it, and we'll go do a good show for them.
Well, you won the 4-5 game last year. We'll see you on Wednesday at York.
We'll be there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you very much. Thanks so much. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Christian Jack, and thank you to the performer of the match, Thomas Meyer-Giguère. Pacific on to the playoffs and Forge FC, the #1 seed. Thanks for joining us on a rainy day in Vancouver Island.
At CIBC, we know that nothing feeds ambition like momentum. So no matter what your goals are, from starting a business to sending money back home, a conversation with us about your goals can set everything in motion. And once that ball of possibilities gets rolling, watch out, world.
TonyBet, bet. At TonyBet, get treated like a VIP. Bet on live games with odds on all sorts of sports. That's what you get when you bet with TonyBet, bet.
Oh, Carol! Always the earliest holiday shopper.
It's Holly. Uh-oh.
You know who's gonna win?
Holly.
Carol.
What?
Carol.
No, Holly.
Get out of here.
Don't miss the Canadian Premier League final, Saturday, November the 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern, live on CBC.
Degree, 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree, keeps working when others stop.
Hey, let's go somewhere beachy. I don't like sand. What? What about Cancun sand? It's so soft. Or maybe Caribbean white sand. Ooh, Costa Rican sand. It's got dolphins.
Costa Rica, then?
Yeah, Costa Rica.
Good choice.
It was all him.
With over 50 sunny destinations to choose from, we have a flight for that.